What's happening, everybody? It's a nice, cold, snowy evening in Illinois. Got here a little bit earlier. I've been pretty bored. Today has been obviously dragster work. You name it, we've been doing it. Lots of chassis stuff going on. Next weekend, I will be getting tubing for it. I did put a link in there if anybody wants to join into the chat. Um, that would be great. Let's see here. Dean is in the house. Dean is my New Zealand Kiwi friend. And we've got unfinished project. He looks like he's got bacon, some juice box, and a Kiwi going on. So, yeah. What's everybody up to tonight? Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. My internet has kind of sucked lately. Actually pretty bad. So what's everyone got going on tonight? Howdy, folks. Dakota's in the house. Colleen is in the house. Hopefully, all you guys are having a great Saturday evening in the wherever you guys live. I know Dakota. I think you're somewhat southeast. Same with Colleen. It's been a cold day. So yesterday, last 2 afternoons, I've been sandblasting my chassis, and I had to get it done last night before it got dark. Because we had to get it Dakota's in Georgia. Get it Jimmy starts on some work. They were calling for flurries, and all of a sudden we got 3 inches of snow, and we got the Mr. John Cope in the house. Yes, I am the freaking street squirrel. I thought about when I was going over names for my dragster. I was thinking about calling it the street squirrel, but jumping jack flash sounded kind of good. But I have a helmet, my red, white, and blue helmet, and I am working on something that is squirrel related with that. So that'll be actually kind of fun. If anybody wants to join, I did put, here's a link for that. Yeah, Dakota, it was a lot of sandblasting. We went through about 100 pounds of media to get that chassis blasted. It kind of sucked. It's very cold. Obviously, doing it outside. Don't have a cabinet that big. And can't do it inside because the mess it makes. So it was really cold. I don't like anything cold weather related, and it just really sucked. But yeah, other than that, it's a boring Saturday evening. I should have gone to Portillo's tonight, but it was still snowing and snowing and snowing. I just wanted to get my ass home and kind of relax and not do anything crazy. I don't know if anybody's trying to get in, let me know. Because sometimes I don't pay attention to what I need to in regards to the StreamYard links in the background. Landon, cousin Mike is in the house. How are you doing tonight? I must ask, UP, how did the potato come about and the shark? I'm just wondering. I've thought about that for a while, and psychologically and from a philosophical standpoint, I can't yet quite determine it. Rob, how are you doing, buddy? Hopefully your evening's going good. Yeah, we're getting some snow too, Landon. Hey, there's Shop Cat. Popping in and say hi. Yeah, at work, hockey's about to start. It's kind of funny because you have Shop Cat. I've got a Shop Cat. Well, she's an indoor cat, but she's mean as hell, and she comes out and into the shop and hangs out and doesn't want to leave. Hey, there we go. Blaker's in the house. Yes, the heathens are assembling. Decided to go on a random live tonight and just see what everyone's got going on. Buck had a pretty good live tonight, obviously. He always does. And he was exiting stage left, so I said, hey, why not? Might as well go live. And just to let you guys know, Mr. Cope and Mr. Haney, I'm going to be going up to his shop at some point later on this month. I've got a trunk full of parts that are going to go into a transmission. make it a whole lot better. NSB is in the house. Howdy. That guy's in Florida, so he's enjoying stuff that's nice. We're enjoying the shit weather. Really shit weather. Not really enjoying it too much. Us little skinny guys, we get cold easily, especially when you're bald. Yes, Blake, randomly assemble. You know it's got to be a pretty boring night when I go live just randomly. So what's everyone got going on tonight? If you're working on the philosophical or psychological angle, you never get there. So I need to take a different angle at that. Is that what you're saying? I got you. I got you. We can figure this out. Yeah, mid 70s today, going to be a brisk 65 tomorrow. Well, I have three fingers for you, right? And it's not this one and it's not that one, but there is a number one for you. All right? Yeah. Hey, it's BNR Racing. How you doing? I know he's in Illinois, just north of me, so he's getting some snow too. Turbo Tom's in the house. Yeah, definitely, definitely cold day. And honestly, I have not been on alive in a while. I did one the other night, kind of fumbled my way through it. So yeah, if anybody wants to join, I put a link in there. Sorry, frog in my throat. So yeah, if anybody wants to join, go ahead and come on in. Put a link in there. Junkyard D, how you doing tonight? Colleen, again, UP. How's everybody doing with their cars? I know it seems like yesterday we were just actually drag racing in Sikeston, Missouri. But you know what? It's only been a couple months. Yeah, I feel for you northern guys. That's one thing I don't miss. Yeah, it sucks. But yeah, how's everyone's cars going? I know this time of year I'm pretty busy in Jimmy's shop building engines and stuff like that, trying to get caught up. But the other thing is obviously working on my own stuff. Weather related. It kind of sucks. Oh, we got BNR Racing joining in.
Hey.
Weather related, it really sucks. Can you hear me, Brian?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear Brian. Let me see here
No?
real quick. Having some audio stuff go on. Give me 1 second. Like I said, I'm really fumbling through this. It has literally been a hot minute since I have been on live. So let me see if I can't. So can you hear me, Brian, at all?
Well, I can hear you fine,
Brian.
Chuck.
Can anybody else hear Brian?
Hello.
Trying to get this to work, Brian. 1 second.
Okay.
Hey, Brian, say something. I'm going to see if I can hear you.
Pontiac Rammer 4.
Nope. All right. So I cannot. Oh, I still can't hear you. Hey, Brian, are you on mute?
No.
Man, that's so weird. I do not know why I can't hear anybody.
I'm gonna leave.
If anybody can hear Brian, you can. Okay, Dakota, you can hear him. I don't know why I cannot hear him. Let me try something real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. I am obviously really, really fumbling through this. Go ahead and say something, Brian.
Nitromethane.
I can hear nitromethane now. There we go. I had a setting wrong. Yes, Junkyard D, you're right. Settings, and yeah, it was that. So, Brian, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. Just me
Good.
here still. The wife and kids been gone almost 10 weeks, as you know.
That's crazy. That is
Yeah, I
crazy.
know. Uh, Miss my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter is somewhere tonight. Not really quite sure. Hopefully she comes home tonight, but I know John, again you get my shift together. But yeah,
So
Brian,
what's
we
the
were working
wheelbase
on
gonna? Oh, go ahead,
oh, the
Jeff.
wheelbase 178-inch wheelbase.
I got you. Okay.
So that's going to be what it was before. I mean, honestly, the front of that dragster had been changed once, and it wasn't the greatest work. The rear part of it is absolutely really cool and really good. But we wanted to change the design in the front for a lot of reasons. It really sucked, to be honest with you. So I called a place to get my tubing, and they were on back order, but they slipped up and told me where they get their supply from, which is actually closer to me. And I called them, and if I buy it in like these 21-foot runs, I get it for like half the price.
There you
So,
go. What wall?
so I'm gonna go
80 or
next.
100?
What's
How
that?
thick? How thick is a chromoly?
058. 058.
Oh, okay. It's going to be light. I got you.
Yeah. The rear is that rear hoop, that rear whole inch and a half section is really thick. It's 120, and that was spec for back in the day for Top Fuel. Um, it's heavy, but we're not. Obviously, I don't have the money to do that whole rear section. The front half of it is actually pretty cheap. So Dakota says you can get some tube where I work about the cheapest, lowest quality metal you can get. Dakota, what do you pay, or what is a price per foot on inch and a quarter 058 4130 chromoly?
It's up there. It's
I
expensive
got it.
now.
I got it pretty cheap, and it's I didn't realize this, Brian, but there's certifications you can get with that too. Like they'll do like a certified steel thing. So like when I buy mine, I'm gonna get that with it. So certified 4130 chromoly. I had no idea that was even a thing, but it is.
Oh yeah, for aerospace industries, it's got to be certified.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that, and I gotta show you something cool. My garage is kind of a mess right now. Look at this. Look at this nice piece.
it's badass.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from, Jimmy? Or you find that at a?
No, I got this one from a racer out in East Coast. English Brothers Racing. They've been doing funny cars, dragsters, and all that, and they went to a bigger bore one. That's exactly what I wanted, and I got a really, really, really good deal on it. Like a really, really, really good deal on it.
Is it Hillborn then, or what is it?
Yeah,
Kinsler?
it's Hillborn.
Okay, okay.
What is going on, Jason? Yeah, I got it from the Chuck E. Cheese prize wall. No, this one's not made in China. Um, but no, I got a really good deal on that. I couldn't pass it up. I paid less for that than what you would just find a really used, needs to be rebuilt, just bare base plate. So I was pretty happy. Got some other
What's a
stuff on
CFM
order.
rating? Any idea on a
You know,
CFM? Is it like 1,000 total or
I have
1,500?
I have no idea. I have no idea on that. I do know that this was designed. This one came out in the early mid '60s. It was designed around the 265 to 327. It's got some port work done and all that. And the guy had it. The guy actually had it on a 396 small block. So small block Chevy,
It's
nothing
got to be
too
like,
wildly
it's
crazy.
probably 900
It'll
CFM
work.
now, 950. It'll
Yeah,
work.
yeah. It should be all. It should be all good. Can't wait to put
Cool.
that one on there. So I got to find the right timing cover for it. There's two different timing covers. One of them has a roller bearing in it, and one of them doesn't. And you want the one with the bearing in it. Having troubles finding that one, and then I need to find a good pump. There's like four different pumps, and everyone's saying
Yeah, the Hillborn
I think it's called a
series of
150.
ones.
Yeah, there's one of them. I think it's the 150C. Everyone says, "Hey, get the 150C. You want the 150C. You want the 150C." And every time I find one, it's a little bit too much of this. Or if I find one rebuilt ready to go, it sells out quick. So we'll see.
You got to match that to the
Doing
horsepower
pretty
rating
good,
of the
Junkers
engine.
Clunkers. Well, see, this one is actually set up already with the pill and the jet nozzles for methanol. So that's kind of a positive, and I got a bunch of extra runs with it. I'm going to get my lesson from Jimmy on tuning Hillborns. I know that.
Oh, he knows them definitely.
Yep.
Hmm.
Functional histories, welcome. Yeah, he's got quite a few of them, and the one thing that we really want is a four port for a blower. Um, want one of those bad, and he used to have a bunch of them. And obviously, over the years, he's gotten rid of them. But we want to. He's going to put together another motor. It's going to be a blower motor, and he wants to put a four port on it. But those are getting really hard to find. You can buy them through like Alki Digger and all that, but they are really expensive. He obviously wants to find one and rebuild it himself at a good cost. It's just really, really expensive. Look at this guy. We got Dizzy in the house. Chuckleheads and reprobates. My kind folks. Hey, Jeff and everyone. You to cope. Yep. Good evening, Dizzy. We got functional histories also and Junkers Clunkers. But yeah, other than that, man,
You got to find a
it
couple
was a long day.
sponsors too
Long day.
to help finance that
Yeah.
car. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not. It hasn't been. Hey, Rick Norrington. Rick is a buddy of mine in Oregon. He's got a 460 powered Mustang. Does a lot of bracket racing. Pretty cool guy. He's got the coolest job in the world. Works in demolition, and he sends me these videos of when they're doing demo, and it's like straight out of a video game. Just stuff just imploding, exploding. It's pretty cool. Really cool. But it's not been bad on the pocketbook. It's the problem is there's so much little things, right? And Jimmy's built many of these. So when he's like, "Oh, we got to change this," and it's like, "That looks fine to me," he's like, "No, here's why we got to change it." Hey, we got to do this. Hey, we got to do that. It just this is one of those things, Brian, where it's more of the time factor than the money factor. Money thing hasn't been bad, but not too bad. But I did get this is pretty neat. My rear wheels in for my dragster too, and they are Halabrand. They are
that's badass.
machine lip with anthracite.
Are they
So
magnesium or two
yeah,
piece or yeah?
no, it's a one piece. I wish
Okay,
they were
okay.
magnesium.
Oh, okay. Mm.
So I got that, and I got a bunch of other miscellaneous parts, and been doing rear end work, getting it all ready and prepped for rebuild and paint.
Cool.
um, so when we tore it down, Dakota, they're 10-inch wide. It's going to have a 12-inch tire on it. Happy Insurrection Day. Yes, Mr. Cope. It is that day. It had 370 gear in it, so it's a top fuel car. And minimum of what we've calculated, we need a 410 minimum. And that's what we're going to start off with. So everything was fine with it except the gear ratio. And I was like, well, that sucks. Axles were great. Everything else was great. I was hoping to just get by with, you know, rebuilding the brakes, stuff like that, new seals, and call it good. But that one's going to cost me a little bit of money. I think is Jabo in the house? Well, if Jabo's in the house and I missed you, well, hello Jabo. Um, it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be pretty cool. I can't wait.
Are you going to build a body for it or any timber work or
There's gonna be tin work. there's going to be some there's going to be a little bit of tin work. It's going to be behind the motor, where over the trans and all that and back, and a little bit of the sides. It's going to be very 60s. I would like to do all the tin work going forward down the nose. That might happen one day. I'm not really sure. That would require me going with a different fuel system. But for now, it's just going to be open,
Okay.
which for me is all good.
Gonna run the
I have
moon
the
tank
original.
yet, or
Well, here you go. That's the other thing. This thing has a legit old. It's got the. I think it's had a couple nozzles added to it, but it's got the original moon
oh,
came
fuck
with it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yep. And when I bought this, the guy was like, "Oh, can I keep the moon tank?" And I'm like, "Nope, not happening. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping the moon tank. Have to, have to keep that." Like I said, I'm going like the frame's going to be a metal flake red. Um, the front wheels are going to be spoked. I really wanted to go with the old school torsion bar front end, which is neat. But the only problem with that is this: I can have an axle made for under $300. So, and that's the route I'm going to go. It would be cool to have the torsion bar set up in the front, but it's just extremely expensive. So I won't be able to afford to do that, but I'll still have everything else going on with that, and it'll be really cool, and it'll be neat. It'll be neat. Spoked wheels. I have the spindles on this are the Anglia. They call the Anglia spindles, and they're like brand new, strange. So that's a good thing. But man, spoked wheels, whew, expensive. Destroyer 1320 in the house. What's going on, brother? That
How
guy
much are
runs
they?
probably one of the funniest shows ever. But
How bad
it's
is
gonna
a
be
pair of
neat.
spoke wheels? Is it like 750 a pop,
Um,
or
no, about 900 a pair with
okay?
tires. With tires. With
With,
tires.
with tires.
And but the thing is about that, I'll have to, Rick says I'll have to get you some new moon stickers when I get back to SoCal. Yes, so my buddy Rick does get to SoCal, and he's always sending me pictures of these cool speed shops and shit that he gets to see. And it's like, oh man, I'm stuck here in Illinois where it's crap, and he's out in sunny California checking out speed shops, which is still cool as hell. But I'm gonna make it as basic too as possible. I'm gonna run a magneto, obviously. Um,
Vertex,
it'll
I think.
have the only thing modern with it. It is going to be air shifted. Just here to hit the live button and say go to hacks. Well, thanks Mopar Nut. I enjoy checking out Mopar Nut's videos, but he's also got a cool Instagram thing where he's always doing something neat with that. Fox Can Fix It Garage. He's another guy. He's on Instagram and he's been doing a budget 283 build. He took this 283 torque downs, doing just all the basic things to it, cleaning up valves, doing this, doing that, and he's doing it right, and it's actually coming along and looking actually really nice, really nice.
Is there
But
a clean break in that power glide, Jeff, or how's it set up?
yes, I don't know. It's got a trans brake in it. I'm actually gonna take it to John Cope and have him look it over. And it's kind of funny because this is actually a CRT transmission, but it's not a Cope racing transmission. It's a CRT place out of I think Florida. Um, it's going to be neat.
I
It's going to
heard of
be
them.
really neat,
Okay.
and it's going to be pretty cool. John Cope is wondering what kind of ceiling fan is that. I have no idea. What transmission you're running? I am running a Power Glide, and it's got the Reed blow-proof case. It's got a bunch of what do you call that? There's a lot of high-end components on that by a company called Aerospace Components, and it's pretty cool. But like I said, the only thing modern is going to be the air shift. It's going to have two buttons, one for the trans brake and one for the air shift. We got Dean there again. Mopar Nut says cold and rainy in New Jersey. Well, it's cold and fucking snowy in Illinois, so it sucks.
$5,000 recase, Jeff. Jeez. you
Yeah,
got a you got a smoking deal.
I did. I did get
Oh
a
yeah.
smoking deal. Hey, Jay's in the house. So when I saw that, Brian, and Jimmy went up and saw it, and then I started going over it, and it's like I'm looking at parts, and there's a lot of other stuff that I got with it. So it was like, holy crap! Like I'm getting a. I'll put it this way: stuff I've already sold off that dragster, I've almost broken even. Junkyard D. So are you have an aggressive build goal date? Is that a race you're shooting for in June? No, it's because Jimmy raced for years, but he doesn't have his license anymore for it, and I've never had a license, so we have to get licensed for it. I have zero experience in one of these, so I need to practice. We're gonna run nostalgia stuff. I think it'll be like Junior Fuel, which, from what I remember, would have been like C-Class dragster back in the day. That's why we're shooting for June. That way we can get certified, get some runs under our belt, get bugs worked out. I really don't care how fast it is. I do, but I don't. I want to take it to No Name Nationals and have a whole lot of fun. It's going to be pretty nice. It's going to be pretty nice. Yes, we're going to run a double hump style head on there. If I can convince Jimmy to give me a set of his 70s Crane fireballs, I'll go with that. So we'll see.
It's mega rare.
Why airship versus RPM activated electric solenoid? I'm going to have pretty much no electronics on this car. It's going to be a magneto. It's going to have mechanical oil pressure gauge, mechanical tach most likely, depending on what magneto I run, and the electronics will be a
I,
trans brake, and
I
I'll
got
have
that
a shift
collection of
life.
Jones tax still. The mechanical
Do you
tax. You
really?
remember them? Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
got
send me
full
some pictures
flathead.
of those again. Send me some pictures of
Yeah.
those again. So the reason why on that is because with the air, I just hit it. I'm just not going to have many electronics at all on this. Who had it before me in their last rendition? There was so many wires in this car and so much stuff. I'm going extremely basic. So so what have you been up to, Brian?
Just working.
Yeah,
Lots of
you
work.
got your new job. How's that going?
I love it and I hate it. I love the paychecks. It's great money, but
Just lots of
I
work.
don't like working on daily drivers anymore. Like I told you, I'm a diesel guy anymore. Not rising race cars, classic cars.
I have very little experience on diesels. I wish I knew more about them. We got someone joining. We got someone joining.
Hey
Eric the
everybody,
Destroyer.
how's it going?
How is it going?
It's good, man. It's good. Everything's good.
So we got a guy from Illinois. It's cold. Another guy from Illinois. It's cold. And then we got this guy out west. How's the weather out there?
49 right now, so it's a little chilly for me.
That is.
Compared to the 70 it was the other day, it's a little chilly.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks here.
My brother tells me that all the time.
Yeah.
He's actually trying to move back out here.
Yeah. So, how is your stuff going with the devices to prevent people like me from stealing Challengers?
Quite well. Doing good, man. Rolling
Good.
along, and I haven't had to have a normal job. Get to work for myself now, so that's a huge benefit having left pretty much the same world you live in.
Yeah.
It's nice to wake up and go, all right, let me just make sure everybody has what they need, and then I can do what I want.
That world does suck, doesn't it? The
Bad.
world that I have
Especially,
to
I
live
couldn't
in.
imagine. I couldn't imagine what it's like now, dude.
It's pretty bad. That's why this and the car stuff is what keeps me sane. But did you guys see Dodge announced that they're not going to be doing auto shows?
Oh yeah, I found that
Yeah, I
out when I
seen that
did SEMA.
notification.
They backed out.
Yep. But hey, the economy is great.
Don't make me spit.
So, a funny story about the auto shows. I knew a writer that had been writing for a couple large publications for a very long time. And he would get me, he created, like, this is years ago, created like a sub business, and it was me. So he didn't have to fly into Chicago and do all that stuff for the media preview, what you see on TV and all that type of stuff. So I would go to these media previews dressed nice and get everything he needed for writing publications, pictures, all that. I hate all these questions, ask these people all this shit, right? And I don't drink anymore, but this is back in the day when I did drink, and I was wild. So I would go to Chicago and do this. And when the Challenger came out, they had all this promotional stuff that the media could get, but like the public wasn't getting. So imagine the whole entire Chicago Auto Show, the whole place is empty, and they have all this special stuff going on for the media. And that's what I would go do for this guy. And like that night, they would have like a band playing because everyone stayed at the same fancy hotel. And like the one night I went, it was Lieutenant Dan Band, Gary Sinise, and Belushi.
Nice.
So the year Dodge comes out with the Challenger, they had all this crazy promotional stuff going on, right? And on eBay, it was going like hotcakes. So I told the guy, I said, well, honestly, I'll go and I'll do this. I said, but any promotional stuff, I'm keeping. He's like, yeah, I don't want that garbage. So I go over and I get a couple from the Dodge guys. And I went back to them, and I was sitting there talking, and I said, hey, you got like a bunch of extra cases of these. He's like, yeah, just dude, help yourself. We don't want to load them back up. So I'm walking in the big McCormick Center, and I find a jack, or whatever you want to call one of those things, a dolly. And there was a catwalk, and it goes straight to like the hotels were, and I am loading like all they have in this hotel room. And I'm like calling a buddy, I'm like, do you got to come up to Chicago? Because I took the train. I'm like, you need to come up here and pick all this up. You know, and it was gold, man. It was gold. Like I paid for my kids like private tuition that year on that trip.
Oh yeah.
It was neat. But now the funny thing is they had all that cool stuff. Like they had like a tailgate party, and they brought in a band, and now they don't even do it. They're not even going to go do it.
No. No, I emailed Tim Kaniskis and told him to stop by my booth, and I've talked to him quite a bit, and he didn't say anything. He wouldn't respond. I'm like,
Yeah.
So then I come to find out, yeah, we're not going to SEMA. We're not going. The only people going to SEMA now are Toyota.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty bad, isn't it?
Well, I understand from having done the SEMA show, I get why they are. It's just a money grab, and it's not what people who are fans of it believe that it is.
Yeah.
And they started doing the woke stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody almost got up and walked out during one of the speeches I went to the SEMA Exhibitor Summit, the prior one to the actual show.
Yep.
Almost everybody got up and walked out.
So last year, I always kept my media passes no matter what, and they were sent to my old fake stuff this guy created for me, and I would never go. And like friends of mine would be like, "Oh, you still got this media pass?" I'm like, "Yeah, here you go. Just don't get me in trouble, you know." So last year, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go, and I did not go, but a friend of mine decides to go. And he tells me it was the biggest woke joke ever, the big push for EV. Like honestly, like if you ever want to see how, and this I saw this for years because I did go to a lot of media previews. And if you saw like the manufacturers, I mean, they're whining and dining. They're having these cool giveaways. Hell, one year for Chevy, they actually had all the Transformer stuff there and previewed the movie before it was in theaters. Had some of the actors there. So when you see all that going on, all the cool giveaways for the media people, and then when you go and it's like no food or it's finger food or, hey, here's a chit. Hey, there you go. And hardly any displays. And like he said, like it was just this big like EV push. And he said it was just, like the people from the media were like car guy media. Not everyone's car guy. That's the thing I learned, right? They're doing their job. We're like, fuck this. And, you know, he said it was bad. He said it was just really bad. So I'm wondering, I'm halfway tempted about doing it this year because I don't give a shit and go and just report, like, if I want to call it, the truth. Hey, this is what you're seeing, and put those videos out.
Well, I
So I
waited
don't
till
know.
it was all done, and I'm really, really tempted to put out my true experience,
Hmm.
like top to bottom, everything that happened, how it went down, how it worked out, and what's my ROI been. I'm waiting till March to call it a true assessment of what my return on investment is for doing the SEMA
Yes.
show. But to this point, there's one person I met that I've actually had more interaction than once with, out of the probably 1,000 people I met when I was there.
Yeah.
It's
So see, I used to get invites to go out to SEMA, and I never went. And it was always just a bad time of year for a lot of personal reasons for me at that time. But did you know this is going to be kind of funny? If there's any women out there, I really do apologize. But so I used to work like Grant Spalding Dodge, Mr. Norm. I knew him very, very well. He was a family friend, and I hung out with him a lot. I worked a lot of shows, events, drag races all summer, a lot of fall stuff for years. And he asked me to go to SEMA with him, and there was a reason why, and I didn't go. And at that time, there was like one exhibit hall and another one. So he calls me and says, hey, I'm trying to find this. I'm trying to find this. Look it up online. See where I need to walk, like a map, right? At the
yeah,
same time, they had an adult movie
the
conference going on,
AVN,
and the other one, yes. So
AVNs.
he's walking in this hallway, and he gets in this back area, and there's people practicing warming up for stuff. And he's telling me this on the phone, watching some guy get, in this hallway. I'm like, where are you at? Like, I didn't go. I should have been going with you. So he finds this out, and he's dying laughing. And so he went that year, and he gave me his true take on it, and then asked me to go back the next year, and I didn't, and he went, and it was not the same experience he had. So he was just, I'm done with it, right? Jay says, my dad almost got a Mr. Norm 72 GSX Demon with a Paxton. I used to have a couple of those Paxton Supercharger kits, new old stock. And actually, if you were to look at that, the blower hat on that is the exact same one that came factory on the R2 and R3 blown Studebakers, and which was also used on the Super Snake Shelby that had twin blowers. It was a very, very basic setup, but it was functional.
Oh yeah. No, at
Yeah.
AVNs, man, were they handing out free samples? I'm just wondering.
Guy was in his 70s. I don't want to know.
Oh no.
I know Brian up in the corner there. He's a Pontiac guy, and here's a good story for you about what these people know that work these shows. The ones they have there, right? Like the ones at the media they have. These guys know their stuff, but they're not the people working when the public is there, right? So I went to this, one of my first media things is obviously when Pontiac was still alive, but I ended up going to the show too. Because if you have a media pass, you can walk in anywhere, anytime with that.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's LA, Detroit, whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, I want to ask this person because they came out with the new GTO at the time. And I started asking questions. Absolutely no freaking clue. And, so they're just hiring that type of stuff. Dutch Guy's Garage, good to see you. My dad has a Norm Dart, been in the family since 1971. What year is it? And is it a big block or a small block? But there was some neat stuff with it, but I'm telling you, like, it's not what people think it was. Like the behind the scenes of it, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, no, it wakes you up and goes, I don't really like that anymore. It's kind of like that happened to me with Barrett Jackson. But here's
Yes.
the only thing I have, Mr. Norm.
I got that same sign. Yep.
With the little.
I got that
thing.
same sign. Mine's one of the porcelain ones. So when he first started remaking, they were thicker, like porcelain enamel. And then manufacturing cost, this, went expensive, and he went to the stamped style ones.
Yep. Yeah. That was the last.
So where are you at with your stuff, Brian? Carwise, you got a bunch of parts stocked aside?
Yeah, it's all in the house, basement, garage.
Nice.
Almost ready.
Yeah.
Need a machine shop money.
Dutch guy says 68 big block. So it's probably, if it's, could be the GSS 440, or I think there was 48 of those, or it could be the GTS 383. That's a very cool car. I like the 68 darts better than the 69. I think the 68 with the round marker lights looked a whole lot better, and same with the round grill lights. I like the 68. My dad's got a 68 dart. I'm pretty partial to the 68s.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
They are. They are.
Is that a GT jet or a GTS or your dad's car?
His was originally a 270 sedan, and it was a 273 car, and we put a 340 in it. Now, when he was growing up, he had a 69 Dart Swinger. It was a 340 car. It was pretty hot ride. Then he had a 70 Barracuda, well, Cuda, 440 4-speed, Sublime Green. I was talking to somebody today at Jimmy's, a guy that Jimmy grew up with. Dutch Guy's 383, cool car. The H code. But anyway, so this guy had pictures of, Jimmy had built this engine for this guy back in like 1972. It was a 69 Torino Cobra Jet car, 4-speed, factory Cobra Jet 4-speed car. All the bells and whistles. Jimmy builds this guy back in the day, this 428, 12-to-1 tunnel ram, crazy engine for him. They put in like 430s out back, and I guess the car was a street tear. And I asked guys, what'd you pay for that car in 72? And he goes, man, it ran great. And he goes, nothing wrong with it. He goes, I paid $850 for it. And I'm like, $850. Yeah. It does. It does.
Yeah, that was I bought a 70 Cuda for $800 years ago in Illinois.
Illinois. I actually bought years ago for a parts car, and I wish I'd have kept it. I was late teen. It was a 69 Dart Western Sport Special, and it had some really, really cool like emblems in the interior design. I honestly, I should have kept that car to like do something with, and I didn't. I parted it out, but man, that was such a neat car. Even though it's a small block, nothing crazy, but it was cool. Yeah, Rick, you're right. You can't buy anything for $850. You can buy a set of gears and a shipping.
Yeah.
Here's a tech question.
Again? Oh,
Yeah, I'm taking it. John Cope's going to be doing some transmission work with me. I think March or April. I'm not letting the cat out of the bag, but I am. It's nothing crazy, but I got a track. I'm going to do some private testing with a fellow YouTuber down in Mississippi, and get it sorted out to race. But the goal is that, once I get the transmission done and all that, call it good and test it in like March, April time frame, and really focus hard on the dragster. And like I said, June time frame is when I want to get that done. I'm going to take both of them to No Name Nationals. So, but the thing is, Jimmy will be making most of the passes in the dragster at No Name Nationals. He asked me if he could do that, and I said, yeah, that's fine. I'll make some. I said, but you'll make most of them. He's still pretty sharp with all that.
I'm so excited to see that thing run.
So am I. Wonder if I'm going to have a diaper on.
You mean for the engine or you?
Me. But yeah, it's going to be for me. It's honestly the first engine we're putting in this is not going to be crazy fast. But the problem is it's super lightweight, so you don't need a whole lot of power. Dutch Guy says, I bought a whole rust-free Aspen from Alabama 2 months ago, delivered for $1,000. You know what? I would love to have a deal like that. Those are cool cars. Those are absolutely. I fell in love with those cars. I was at Mopar show in Dubuque, Iowa. I want to say Mopar's on the Mississippi years and years and years ago. I do have a funny story about that, but I remember seeing those cars there and I loved them. Rick, yep, it is Sikeston, Missouri, and it starts on September 19th, 20th, and 21st.
YouTube is acting up, Jeff.
It's an
Is
amazing
it?
time. Just saying, it's like one of my favorite things I've ever done.
It is. And, I have been to so many drag races, so many national events, so many of the big car show swaps everywhere for years. And then I got out of it because of raising kids. And it's just laid back. It's fun. I mean, yeah, you want to win, but nobody gives a shit. I mean, no one really
It's
cares.
it's playing big size cars with all your buddies instead of, everybody used to bring over those old Matchbox things that was the wheel
Yeah.
and you'd open it up and check it out. It's just grown adults having the same amount of fun.
Well, Brian, he drives from like northern Illinois down there in his 454 Gen 5. Isn't it Gen 5, Gen 4? Chevy truck. He's got a 3/4 ton Chevy truck with a big block he rebuilt in it. He drives that thing there, hot laps, son of a bitch, has a whole bunch of fun, goes home. You got people bringing this car, that car. Everyone has a good time. I broke because of my own stupidity, but I still had a
Too many
blast.
wheelies.
Yeah, fried a starter. The one thing I went cheap on, but it was so much fun. It was an absolute blast. And, there's people out there that have their opinion about it, but honestly, it's like if you're going to have an opinion about something, have an opinion about it if you've gone. If you're just going to sit there and talk crap about it, it's like, come on. Like,
Well, that
you got to
to me
be there to know what the event's about.
that means you're too serious. You shouldn't go to the event. If you're like that type of person, don't go. You're way
Right.
too serious. You're gonna suck the fun out of the room, and no one else is
Yeah.
gonna allow that's there. So
Yeah, and there's some serious hardcore racers that do go there, in my opinion, like Mopar Joe.
oh
And
yeah,
but, he's there having fun. He's thrashing in the pits. People are thrashing in the pits here and there. There's people like me. I want to win. Don't care if I do or if I don't. I want to make some fast passes. I mean, my goal this year is to set low ET. That's it, and have fun.
nice.
If I don't set low ET, I really don't care. It's just that's my goal, and yeah, I'm bringing a dragster to set low ET. I should be able to do it, but you know what? There could be somebody showing up with some monster blown Hemi on whatever and just kick my ass. I don't care. Please do. Please show up with something like that and smoke
Right.
me, humiliate me. I don't care. It'd be fun.
Absolutely. That's the whole point of that is fun. And if you don't
Have
have
no
fun,
fear
it's your
that-
fault because it's there.
Yeah.
Oh, Douster!
Dougster. Even the worst concerts you go to are still fun if you remember them.
Yes. Don't get a little dazed and confused.
Spent many years doing that. When I got out of cars, my thing was music, and one second, I'm responding to my daughter. One thing about it is I got into music, and when my kids were getting older, before I got into cars, this is right before the Rona hit. I was going to between 30 and 40 concerts and music fests a year. Like all my work vacation was just concerts and music fests. I had so much fun doing it. I couldn't do it in today's world because of the woke crap, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh dude. Used to love going to shows back. I've only been to actually I haven't even been to any in Arizona. I've been over in Vegas mostly to go watch shows, but Illinois was a
Yeah.
pretty good place to watch some good music.
So 2020, I had it planned very well. I ended up getting this Dodge 3/4 ton van and stripped the interior, and I put in this unbelievable, awesome sound system, and it had seats down the side, lighting, fridge. It was, private in there, and like the thing folded into a bed and had a table. It was, dude, this was the legit. Like I can't say it on YouTube, but it was going to be awesome, right?
It's
And the thing ran like a top. It was something, and so I get this thing done, right? And I buy tickets to all the music festivals I want, and not just local. I'm talking down in Texas, obviously up in Chicago, Wisconsin. There was one I had set up for Georgia and in the Atlanta area. Then I had a bunch of concerts in between that, and I was going to have this whole bulk of time just driving to all this crap, and didn't happen because of what happened. But it really sucked because I had it like planned out. So that's the cool thing when you're an adult and you actually plan and you want to have fun. The mixture between those two does jive. And like there was a solid, I can't remember what period of time I was going to be in, Chicago for the Black Keys, turn around 2 nights, Grateful Dead and Company at Wrigley, then Lollapalooza 3 days, and I was heading down to Shaky Knees. I was going to end it all in New Orleans for this Cigar Box Jazz Blues Rock Festival, which I would have probably never came back from, and never happened. So, but I can say this: 2019, I did hit it pretty hard. And I did in 2019 get to take my dad and my son to go see the Rolling Stones in Chicago, so that was fun.
Oh my God! Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
So yeah.
Now, Functional Histories was asking what's in the top right. I can't show this too much because it's a Chevy, but
it's a '57 Chevy 4-door.
Yes, it is. You can't be all Mopar. You got to have like other things you like.
Yeah.
Boobs.
Yep. But yeah, I had a whole lot of fun doing the concert thing for a while, but it just oh no, Functional History says, "Hey, what's going on, Bruce Jones?" Functional History says, "No, the car on your right. That is his Dodge Dart. That is the Terminator."
My 71.
It's a 451, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a dust collector right now. But
yeah.
Eventually, it's getting a new home if somebody is looking for a car to take to No Name Nationals. Whoever wants to.
That's my dust collector over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I live in an HOA, and they tend to not like 3.5-inch exhaust with like that much pipe and bullet Magnaflows with a downpipe.
So I live in a small neighborhood enclave, if you want to call it, in a rural area, and where I live is surrounded by the Kickapoo River, and it's all wooded. It used to be a campground, and they turned it into in the 70s, 60s, and 70s a neighborhood. It's all hilly and houses here and there. None of my neighbors give a shit. Like, they all think it's cool, right? And none of them care. And there's one, and doesn't even live on my road, lives around a curve, that complains. Can you guess what kind of car they drive?
Prius.
Close.
EV.
Tesla. Yes, Brian got it. An EV. I don't even drive by their house, ever. And they complain. And I don't leave my neighborhood like I'm a meth addict that just robbed a pharmacy. Like, I fire my car up, I hit my button, I have the headers closed, and I just creep out, and there's a curvy road I never fly through because of deer. But Brian knows the road I live off of, Old 51, which is 39. Once I hit up on that road, headers go up, and I just whack it, And I have friends that live along there, and they'll text me, and I'll get home. They're like, "Oh, hey, I heard you driving down the road today. How many gallons of gas did you burn up?" Nobody cares.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, like my test road, there's like a hot rod shop there. All these old guys build hot rods in, and they don't give a shit. Nobody cares. The grain bins let me go there to like weigh my car, but one person complains, and I personally know the sheriff, and he's texted me and said, "Hey man, like, someone's complaining." And I'm like, "I'm not doing anything." He's like, "I'm just letting you know, man." Like, but this person also complains about people riding, everything. Oh, it's gas powered. You must be crucified by Greta Thunberg is going to crucify you.
I want those exhaust cutouts, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I hit a button, boom, and they come alive. But it's just like I don't do anything wrong. Like nobody in this neighborhood really does anything wrong, but I know this person complains about a lot of stuff. Oh, hey, there goes Eric Destroyer. Oh, he's on a golf cart doing 7 miles an hour. I better call the police.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Brian Reeland, he's driving around. Oh, there goes Brian. I just saw him driving his truck. He didn't have a seatbelt on. Better call the FBI. It's like, you are fucking insane.
Last time somebody complained, I strapped a bunch of fireworks to the back of my golf cart, lit them on fire, and drove around at night. Popping and banging, just driving real slow past their house.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, so it's going to get interesting when I get this dragster done. It's at Jimmy's. And it's going to be here, and I'll be doing fire-ups with it and all that, because it's going to stay here. Fox Can Fix It says, ask the EV guy how many gallons of gas does it take to equal the environmental damage of mining for batteries, minerals, and metals. You know what? That's a really good question. Instead of asking the fine American jobs of hardworking people taking care of their families that question, why don't we go ask those kids that are, forced labor in Africa to do that, or the Chinese kids making 4 cents a day to poison themselves because they have to? That's who we should be asking. Or the politicians that support that shit. Fox, if you ever want to take a flight with me and we can ask these people in person, I would do that with you in a heartbeat.
I could not only imagine that.
Oh man, I would like some people like Al Gore. I would love to sit down with, because like when people start talking all this mumbo jumbo, and I normally don't do political rants. I'm sure most of you guys know my political views, and people are like, "Oh, the Earth is doing this. Oh, we're going to lose our coast. We're going to do this. We're going to do this." Then why do the people that preach all this have mansions on the coast or live on islands?
Good question.
Private jets, private helicopters.
Yeah, Max Wedge,
Military
Dick
escorts.
Dastardly.
What's up?
Yes. And then, I do a lot of reading on this stuff, Eric. You know that. I send you stuff through Instagram. Most of it's probably not appropriate. Yes.
Oh,
but
it is for between you and I. It's 100% appropriate.
Yes. And I send you the stuff, and it's like, and you click on the links and you read the sources. A lot of it comes from government stuff, and it's like, oh, so the government quietly is admitting the part they don't want to say because they have to. It's like, yeah, that's crazy. Douster says, my neighbor is a wild man, so whatever I do is child's play compared to him. Well, that's good. I haven't.
Uh-oh. I was going to say, I didn't freeze. You're frozen, Jeff. But that's a really good look. He looks surprised in that. Should we do the freeze game? He'll reboot. He'll be right back on. Yeah, there it is. Dakota's timeout. Got too excited. I have to say, Douster with the Al Gore rhythm, that's amazing. The Al Gore rhythm, that's awesome.
November 3rd is do or die show.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I want to lobby for more steam cars. Heck yeah, Fox can fix it. Oh, here we go. Jeff's internet glitched. He'll be right back. No problem. I will yap until you get back. Until then. Yes, Jeff will return in a moment, folks. He's paying the piper. He had to go out and feed the mouse that runs the internet in Illinois, because in Illinois the internet it kind of does this whenever it wants to.
It's kind of out here in my end too.
Tell us some Harry Carey jokes. He kisses her on the strikes. She kisses him on the balls. Oh man, I missed that. I've not done Harry Carey in forever. I used to do it all the time.
It's Brandon, Jeff, I'm telling you. So it's Gmos.
Harry was at SEMA. Yes, Harry Carey was out at SEMA. There's a lot of fine ladies out there, but I couldn't say nothing because my wife was standing next to me. Hi everybody,
Sorry
Jeff's
about that.
back.
I did. Internet just went ping. It was probably because I was speaking disinformation.
Dude, I have had it where I said something about the JB guy, and literally we had bots in the chat that fast. I was like, dude, no freaking way.
Well, here's the best part about it is the FBI has nothing on the JeffBI.
Ooh.
Hey!
Nice.
Yes. You know, I'm not going to say why, because we are on YouTube, but I did years ago. I was walking that fine, Yes, Junkyard D, Illinois censored me. I was walking the fine line of legality with stuff that goes boom. I paid a lot of attention in chemistry class, and I actually had the FBI show up my house. And I asked if they had a warrant, and they're like, "No, we just need to talk to you." And I said, "Yeah, come on in." And they're asking me questions, and I had nothing to hide. I'm like, first thing is, am I in trouble? No. Okay. Is it related to this? Yes. Blah 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 blah. And my daughter was super young. Yeah, Pritzker's going to show up your house. That's fine. He won't be able to fit through my door. So, long story short, this lady was being really rude, and she asked my daughter to leave the room. And I said, "No, this is my house." And I said, "You need to go step outside." She looked at me and said, "No, this is my house. You don't have a warrant. I invited you, and I can invite you out." I said, "He can stay. You can't." And it was raining outside. So I told her to hit the road, get outside. And she had to. And long story short, I literally wasn't doing anything theoretically, legally wrong. It was that fine line, right? And the guy knew it, and he was laughing about it. He's like, "Hey, just doing my job." I said, "I get it. I totally get it." And I said, "Should I stop?" And he's like, "Yeah, you might want to chill out for a little bit and not do them as big." He goes, "When there's a state cop 7 miles away and they see the flash and hear it," he's like, "that one draws red flags." And I'm like, "Yeah." And mind you, I'm 44, and I was like early 30s at that time. But I did say that because the lady was like, the guy was super cool and the lady was not. She's like, "Hi, I'm Officer Cuntwaffle from the FBI," and I'm like, "I'm Jeff from the Jeff FBI." How's it going?
Bannerite. Oh.
With JP8 and flour and a bunch of other stuff. Yes. So.
See. That's when you're like, no inglés.
And, the guy did ask, he's like, "You had to have an accelerant in that." And I said, "Well, when all the accelerant goes bye-bye, I guess, and there's nothing left, But, yeah. It was a lot of fun. So I grew up in a law enforcement family. Mm-hmm. And I knew a lot of them were just jokesters, pranksters, very normal people, like to have fun.
Oh,
and
my God, yes.
You could tell this was just an old school guy, probably a few years from retirement. And you can tell that Greta, FBI Greta, she was goose stepping her way up the ladder and was not having it. I just said, "You don't have to be in my house. You go stand outside." And it's pouring down rain, right?
That's beautiful. Now she's doing that job justification.
She's probably listening in right now and going, if you put a beard on that guy, that could be him. So if you're Officer Greta Cuntwaffle, if you are out there watching, you can go fuck yourself. Register this.
That is so awesome.
And I've never had many bad experiences with police officers or anything like that. Like I said, I respect them. I grew up in that. But, when you grow up in that and there is a bad one, it, and you have zero respect.
Well, where your rights are and where their authority ends.
Yes.
And you can walk that line and throw stuff at them without them actually being able to do a damn thing.
Yes. Fox says, "In the Marines, we were doing a night shoot on a range using illumination mortar rounds. I need some of those. And an airport called the base requesting we stop because the illumination was showing up on the radar." Now that's fucking awesome. I was at a big car event in Pennsylvania, and we were staying at a bed and breakfast. And it was by one of the big military bases, and there was a fence on the backside and had the signs and all that. And, somebody, I don't know, went over there and peed or whatever. They hit that fence a few times, and a military vehicle came up, right? Said, "Hey, just checking on things. Didn't make sure nobody's trying to climb this fence." We're like, "Okay, that's weird. How'd they know that?" So we were trying to figure out how these guys figured out, because nothing around, right? We're thinking it's motion because we were chucking beer bottles at the fence. We're late 20s, and every time we did that, these guys would show up, and it's like, wow, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, some of the stuff I took part of in my younger years for companies, I did some stuff for Raytheon. I did some stuff for other places, and knowing what they're capable of,
yes,
would make you pee yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Quite.
I read all that shit. I read all that shit, and you're just like, wow, and they're worried about me.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just say the project I worked on, I could tell you day or night if you were drinking a Coke or a Pepsi from 9 miles away,
After I drank it,
before or after. This was ridiculous stuff. Plus, it had
yeah,
ground penetrating radar on top of it.
wow.
So
See, I
let's just
read
say,
up on a lot of that stuff. Like in my personal life, I'm a pretty quiet, normal person. I do a lot of reading. I don't watch TV. I just can't. Like I have to be
yeah,
doing something. So like I'm either reading or Brian sends me articles. I send him articles on stuff, and you're reading this crap, and you're like, holy cow! Like how can I take a little bit of that technology and incorporate it into my car? You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like
right.
just a little bit.
Just reverse engineer it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm huge into NASA. Like I have a cool collection of, like I'm big into the Apollo stuff and all that, and I've done all kinds of different crazy Apollo shit, and especially for the 50th anniversary, and to think what they did at that time frame is crazy. And
It
see, we
is.
need more of that thought. We were the number one in science, math, you name it. And, back then it's like, how can we put a man on the moon? All these kids are like, math, 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 science, slide rule, blah, blah, blah. They're crazy. And now it's like, can I chop my dick off and play women's sports? Or can I keep it too? I mean, you look at the rest of the world, like China is building up this huge war machine. You got India who's becoming very technologically advanced. You have all these
Hmm.
countries that are just really moving forward, and a lot of them aren't very good countries. And here we're like, you offended me. Can we crucify you, Greta? Greta? Yeah. He said something about my Starbucks shirt, and the guy at McDonald's wasn't very nice to me. Yeah, so we need to cancel this guy. It's like, come on. Anybody listening to the new Who Killed JFK podcast from Rob Reiner, I have been listening a little bit of
I
that. It is
started
pretty
to.
good. Yes.
Oh yeah. If
So
you get bugged up.
I've been down to Dealey Plaza quite a few times, right?
Hmm.
And I was down there for a family thing, but I took my daughter there because she was doing a book report in junior high. And so I took her down and all that. And if you've ever been down there, and everyone talks about conspiracy theories, this, that, and the other, and I'm a pretty good marksman. You go to the grassy knoll, and if you're there, it looks completely different than what you see in the Zapruder film. And they don't let you do any film, photography, any of that shit in the Dealey Plaza, 6th floor, 7th floor museum, whatever it is. But if you know your stuff about pow pow things, because I don't want to say it on YouTube, because then I'll be
Right. The pew
crucified
pew.
by
Yeah.
Greta. And long story short, um, and you look at it and you're like, yeah, what they've been saying for years is absolutely wrong.
Oh no,
Dakota
the new
says, that's
stuff
not
is
Brian, it's an
crazy.
FBI clone. Hello, Andy
That's
from
awesome.
Unity Motorsports Garage. He's in the house. He's
What's
got
up,
the
buddy?
Tunnel Ram Mafia shirt that came out, like Rick just said.
Very
And I do want to
nice.
race Andy really, really bad. Really, really bad. Just for fun. If he lays the wood to me, oh well. At least it's another Ford beating me. But if he beats my dragster, that's not going to be good. I'll be thoroughly embarrassed.
Did you weigh the dragster?
I did not, but our target goal, based upon other builds Jimmy has done, our target goal is 1,500 with me in it. Might be
Oh my!
1,600 depending on a few things, but
And you're looking at what, about 500-600 horsepower?
we'll be running M1. Every once in a while, maybe here a little dose of nitro, but yeah, hoping around 500-600 horsepower.
That's a really good
Yeah,
ratio.
Andy's right on that. We need to start a nitro fund. Yes, we do. So I've been
Yes.
pricing fuels out, and I know this isn't all fuel companies, but like the M1 methanol, $8-9 a gallon. Nitromethane, what I've found gallon price. You're not really ever buying it a gallon. When you break it down, it's $105 a gallon.
God,
Yeah.
double. Wow.
Yeah.
Still, I'm running C16 in this, and it's 18 and a half or something a gallon.
So Illinois gets you on taxes when it comes to specialty fuels, and I run C10, and the place I buy it from, you buy it in 5-gallon jugs. You break it down, and it's like $21 a gallon, which is insane.
It's insane. I
It
could probably
is.
go a little cheaper. We have Torco race fuels right by my house, so I could probably go a little cheaper, but
Yeah, I need to figure some things out, especially with the nitro thing, because I do want to run some nitro every once in a while.
well, I can tell you the NHRA gets it for $1,500 a barrel.
Yeah, Andy says you would burn with that combo probably 2.5 gallons a pass. So at 30%, that's about what Jimmy said. Between fire up, burn out, back up, nail it, go, high speed lean, let it go out. He said it'd be 2.5, 3 gallons a pass. So if you look at it, fuel wise, let's just say, $18 for the methanol and then $105 for the nitro in one pass. So that's what, $123. And then you got the oil thing that comes into factor too. So I mean, it's an expensive run. It's an expensive run.
You need a GoFundMe.
I do. Weird bald guy harassed by Greta from the FBI needs nitromethane fuel. Not to be used in things that go boom, hopefully. Wouldn't that be a good one?
So what do you got to run for oil then, Jeff? 40 weight, 50 weight, 60 or 70 weight?
That's the other thing. Probably will probably be. He ran a lot of either 50 weight or 2050.
Okay.
2050 is what I was familiar with, yeah.
But yeah, but Andy, definitely worth it. I know this summer practicing, it'll just be pretty much on methanol. But when I know Jimmy's gonna be making some passes at No Name, and it'll be on nitro. Yes, Fox Can Fix It Garage says $123, cheaper than a lot of concert NFL tickets. And you know what? There's a lot of concerts and NFL tickets. If you gave them to me, I wouldn't go. Just wouldn't do it.
Yep.
You gonna have Sumis in the dragster, by the way, or
what's that?
are you gonna have Sumis or swept headers, or what are you
Zoomies.
planning?
Zoomies.
Sumis, okay.
Yep. So that's the whole thing. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun, but it's the end of the year. It'll probably, depending when Havana has their Nitro Fest or their Nostalgia Fest, but if something was to happen in this motor at the end of the year, I'll be feeling not bad, but it still suck. But I don't want anything to happen early on. So methanol pretty much all summer, and then start adding the nitro, especially the No Name Nationals.
And what's the name of the car?
Max Wedge Dick Dasher says, I use gallon and a half easy down and back. Yeah, I mean, that stuff just... Andy, what kind of... you have to run looser bearing clearances and nitro dilutes. So it's funny you say that. So we're sitting there talking about typical small block Chevy builds with, 1.5 thousandths on the main, maybe 2 thousandths, and you'll have like 4 thousandths pistons wall clearance. Like this thing's going to have like 3 on the mains, maybe 4 on the mains, 8 thousandths to 10 thousandths pistons to wall. You really want it to be able to expand and take that abuse. Yeah, so Andy's right. Nitro dilutes oil pretty bad. A lot of times when you drain the oil from a nitro car, it looks green and just totally nasty. Because nitromethane technically isn't a fuel, but it's pretty neat. It makes its power because it's making its own oxygen. Methanol mixes quite well with it, very well with it. Hey, what's going on there, Mr. Cope? The one thing I did read, Brian, someone asked me about E85 and nitro. Really can't do it. You can, But the thing with E85, it still has gasoline in it, and nitro really doesn't mix with gasoline. How the molecules bond or however that mixes, they don't really do it that well. You have to add something to it, like acetone or something, to make it work right. It's not worth it. So, because there's
Mineral
methanol.
spirits. That's the
Yeah.
mineral spirits, Jeff. That's the binder agent.
So that's where we're going. Yeah, see, Andy, I know enough about nitro to be dangerous. So that's the way I am. I keep on asking Jimmy all these questions, and he looks at me like I'm insane. But I'm just learning, and I want to know what I can do. And the first question I did ask, okay, you're running nitro in this thing at some point. What's the safe amount a small block Chevy production block is going to take? 4-bolt mains, don't matter what crank, whatever. What safely? What is that going to take? And he said 30% is a very, very safe mixture. So you start getting up over that, especially in the 60, 70%. He's like, you're gonna destroy stuff very easily. So 30%
Is it
is
going to be hard block, Jeff?
What's that?
Is it going to be hard block, half fill,
Yes.
or full fill? Yes.
Probably half filled. See, there's a way you can cheat the cooling. There's a way you can cheat the
It should take
cooling.
100 horsepower then. The block.
Yes.
It
So
should.
there's a way you can cheat cooling on that, Brian. It's kind of neat. So I was looking at some stuff that Jimmy made years ago, and I asked him about. I said, "Hey, what's this coming off here from the cylinder head going to this one of the Zoomy pipes?" And he goes, "It's simple. What they would do back in the day, and it was kind of a cheating method, but not really. So what they did was they would tap a cylinder head, and they would put water in the block, and when it get hot and expand, it would go through two holes on the cylinder head into the first Zoomy tube, and once that moisture hit the heat, it would just steam off, right? And
Gotcha.
it would be enough. It would be enough to keep it cool, shut it down at the end of the run. Now this is old school shit. And I asked him. I said, "So why is it cheating?" He's like, "Here's why. If you're running with a guy in a dragster and he sees shit poof right out of the pipes, he thinks you're going to be going back and he can let off and save his engine." But I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I had it happen a few times." So what they ended up doing was doing that on purpose. Just filling it up, having half block fill or half water, so retain that heat. And when it do that, some guys would back off thinking, "Oh, I got him beat." You're talking 75, 80% down the track. So there might be a little trick.
Me not knowing nitro, what does that do to the cylinder pressure? Do you have to worry about your heads at all?
Yeah, like fire ring. Like you're not running a normal head gasket.
Right.
You're going to run an iron head. You have to run extremely good valves. Obviously, a good forged piston. Coated, the better, but forged internals. There's a lot of heat being generated. See, it's making heat. It's fire the whole entire time because it's making its own oxygen. You're not running it that long. That's the good part. Let's see here. Unity. Andy says, talk to Gene Adams. He is still kicking and has forgotten more than we could ever know about nitro. Yes. John Milner ran 80% more in American Graffiti. Terrible movie other than the drag racing. I liked American Graffiti. Or more American Graffiti. Yeah, that one was terrible movie. Yeah, 80%. I think NHRA has a 96% rule in that. And I've talked to Jimmy a lot back in the day. And he said he remembers guys that were just pretty much full dosing it as much as they could. And he said that was just crazy. But then there's hydrazine, which is banned. That's like a ticking time bomb. But the nitro stuff is neat. And if you tune stuff right and you got pretty strong internals and you're not being stupid with a tune, you should be all right. And it likes timing. It likes a ton of timing. So that's good. And you need a magneto, too. You're not going to run it off a, hey, I just bought this at AutoZone. It's an HEI. It's made in China. Lin put it together yesterday. You're not using that
Thunderbolt.
Yes, run aluminum rods helps keep the bottom end together. We've got quite a few different aluminum rods. Some of them are more modern, Andy, but I do have a set of the original Mickey Thompson aluminum race rods, which are kind of neat.
Wow.
And it's weird. So The aluminum rods, so like when you have a rod cap and it's like flat surface mounting, they're like grooved little teeth, so it really binds together and you don't even see it. It's like a perfect seam. And the bearing itself, there's a pin in the bottom of the rod and a little hole where the bearing actually sits in to keep that bearing from spinning because of the aluminum. So I'm learning. It's just, I've got 6 months to learn a whole lot.
Well, it's one of those, okay, I want to learn, but I don't want my wallet to learn the same lesson.
Right. Right. And, I would really, like, I'm a Mopar guy. I've yet to build a Mopar since doing this YouTube stuff. But I would love to put, like, a small block Mopar in it. The reason we're going small block Chevy, Jimmy knows them very well, and all his race stuff from back in the day that he still has is all small block Chevy. If we were to start over, yeah. So if I was to start over in the Mopar world, I have engine blocks, but I don't have, Hillborn injection for small block Chevy. I don't have a timing cover for Hillborn injection, or small block Mopar. I mean, so yeah, it's pretty neat. So I'm going to show you something cool if I can get this to work right. Let me grab this. Here's what's kind of neat on these. Hopefully you can see in there. Can you see that nozzle? See those nozzles in there?
Yeah.
Those are your fuel nozzles. Isn't that wild?
Nice.
I mean, that's just a ton of fuel being chucked in there. Then, you got your butterflies. So, I mean, it's just pretty much, that's it.
Nice.
Everything's mechanical.
Brilliant.
And it's pretty lightweight. There's not much to them, but there's a lot to them. I'm figuring that out. So there was a time and place where Hillborn had nozzle arrangement above the butterfly, and that didn't work. And Jimmy's actually got a Hillborn injection setup that was originally like that he redid for the below part. Two, it's cheaper to hop up a Chevy. It is. I'm understanding why now when you go to drag races and you see a guy, a lot of the dragsters or whatever, there's a lot of small block Chevy stuff, or even the big block Chevy stuff, a lot more readily available, a lot easier on the wallet. You build an engine like Andy's 427, that's expensive. My 521's expensive. Brian's going to be putting together a true legit Ram Air 4 Pontiac engine. That's expensive. You don't want to go taking something like that, in my opinion, and trying to do this with it, because one little thing, there it goes. Jimmy is the man. Old guys rule. Yes, Jimmy is 70. He actually grew up around the corner from my dad. They met in like 1959 as little kids running around this neighborhood. So his dad, Jimmy's parents, owned a tavern. My dad's parents, let's just say, didn't have the greatest home life. So like these kids just fended for themselves, just having fun, and they just grew up doing the car stuff and hot rodding and having a good time. And I asked him today because he was doing some TIG welding. I said, "How long have you been welding, Jimmy?" And he goes, "How old are you?" And I said, 44. And he goes, "Way longer than that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Yep.
You're like, yeah. Fox is right. Yeah, it's like a Ford 9. It's cheap, strong, reliable. It's like the I call them the powder glide, but the power glide 2-speed. I mean, it's just what racers do.
Yep. Oh, we
What's
got
up,
Dust
Dust
Devil
Devil?
in the house. Yes, he's in the house. Yeah, I said mine's
Does
power
Jimmy
glide
have any
transmission.
external?
What's that?
Does Jimmy have any external Vertex coil models? They call it OAX. It's hotter,
No,
Jeff. It's almost double the spark energy.
He doesn't, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And there's a company called FIE that makes a really good one. Look up FIE.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this, but there is a difference between. Let mechanical injection for the roundy round guys that do it on dirt and the drag racers. The injection, the actual fuel injection, it looks the same, but it's different. Jason's garage is in the house. How's it going? So, do you know how a carburetor has like a transfer slot style thing with idle and all that crap? So, a roundy round fuel injection system has something similar to that because they're on and off the throttle a lot. And what it's doing is allowing it when you're coming off throttle to still be pulling fuel versus one of these. Because one of these, you slam off throttle and it's pretty much not doing shit. Because this thing is meant for pretty much like idle or wide open. You know, you want it to idle, it's a high idle. But you want it to be wide open. You're not feathering it. So the Kinsler fuel injection you see a lot on the roundy round guys and some of the early Holly stuff, it's the same thing. Jimmy's got one of those he's going to be modifying. But yeah, the old Hillborn logo is actually cool. So Stu Hillborn, his right-hand man was a guy named Don Enrique. And Holly acquired Hillborn, and Don still works for him. And that guy is like a legend on tuning these things. Because I've been talking with him on, you know, hey, what do I need to do with this? You know, like what parts, what service parts? You know, Jimmy and I are looking at rebuilding a couple of them. Like, do you guys offer X, Y, and Z? And this guy knows every nut, bolt size you could ever think of. But yeah, Hillborn's neat. I wish you could really run a Hillborn on the street. I'm sure you could figure it out.
It's been done.
It'd be interesting. I'll be right back.
Destroyer. Eric's got to go race like a pea horse. It would be interesting. I think you could, yes. So what is everyone else doing out there in the world of automotive YouTube people? I know we have 257 days, whatever, till the No Name Nationals. I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be fun. I can't wait. Dean Stevenson, return line barrel valve tuning is what's needed. I'm hearing that. Every time I hear Hillborn, I hear the SNL Lothar of the Hill People song, yes. Hell, I would try it. Yeah. Might as Andy, you know, that's a really good thing. Andy could probably figure it out. Andy, I'm not sure, because with the Ford stuff, I know there was a company called Algon that made Ford stack injection. I do know that. I'm not 100% sure on some of the other Hillborn stuff. There's a lot of neat stuff out there. Crowler injection was cool. Crowler had like these offset stacks and stuff that was cool looking. But I think, Andy, if you could figure out how to do stack injection on the street, boy, that would be killer. They obviously make it in electronic fuel injection nowadays, but that's not as cool. Mechanical's way to go. An Iron Duke starter will not fit a 283 without changing the flex plate. Well, crap. That is a cool project you got going on with that 283, Fox. It's pretty neat. So yeah, tomorrow, no car stuff for me. Gonna actually take a day off from doing that. This week coming up, I gotta start building more on that small block Chrysler I'm doing for a friend of mine. We're doing fuel injection on a Chevelle. Probably go out to Jimmy's a couple nights and work on stuff. Douster is preparing to port 440 source aluminum heads. I masked the head deck face tonight. Spring compressor isn't up to task of the comp springs and the heads. So it's kind of neat. Since we do a lot of small block stuff, I bought this comp cams head valve spring compressor tool, and it actually bolts over that, and you're not having a clamp. You just run a wrench down, and it pushes both of them down at the same time. Yep, and you just take your retainers out and loosen it, and it's easy peasy. Andy, have a great night, buddy. Thanks for stopping in. The springs on the 455 are a pain. Yes, I could see that too. Gasket matching my 340 Torquer intake to my 915 360 heads for 318 going in half pint 80 rim. That's pretty awesome. Sounds we got a lot of people doing some cylinder head work in the house. That's what I kind of find nice. Like everyone is branching off to just not bolting stuff together, going out there and trying it, learning it. There's obviously a billion resources at hand with all the people in here. It's kind of nice.
Oh yeah.
I know Rick
Everybody has that thing they know.
Yes. My buddy Rick out in Oregon, he does a lot of neat stuff with 460s. 460 is a good running engine. Heavy as hell, but it's a good running engine.
Lots of torque.
Yeah, lots of torque. The rotating mass is the scary part. The crank I put in this thing here, Eagle crank, 82 pounds. That's more than half my weight. If I just chopped mine off and decided to play professional women's sports, there it is. Did I say that? Was that my out loud voice?
Did I hear that?
I hear Officer Greta.
How dare you?
So I was heading to some drag races this summer. And I live in a rural area, and you can hop on, highways and shit like that. And my friend Kenny, I grew up with, he's a really great guy. He'd never been to a drag race. And I'm like, well, I'm bored. It's hot out. Let's head over to Havana. They got some cool shit going on. And you got to drive down a 2-lane highway called 136. Crosses through a little town that I live in, or outside of. And that's a road you really don't want to speed on, So I'm driving. And Colleen, no, you are not a dumb chick.
No.
Not at all. So here I am driving, and it's getting close to farm season, so people are getting their shit out and all that. And I'm driving, and there's
Pause for the cause, everybody. He said Greta too many times and they canceled his internet. I'm sure he will reboot and be right back. Oh, let's see. Let's go to the comments, everybody.
Message.
460 isn't the cubic inches, it's the weight in kilograms. My camper is a 460. Someday engine will be for sale. I have a 451 stroker right here. Yeah, I'm talking. I got you, bud. I got you, Jeff. Don't worry. Hang in there. We'll keep her rolling for you. It's right at story. I know it's always at story time, isn't it? As soon as he gets into it, hey, let's burn more fuel. They're like, no, hey, pull the plug. Oh, let's see. Who else we got here? Freeze, Jeff. Oh, he froze. The frozen face was funny. For heaven's sake, don't pull her pigtails, y'all. Huh? Damn autocorrect. Excuse me. When he's frozen, he looks like Dr. Evil. That is a very good comparison.
Hey, there we go. I start talking about Officer Greta, and I get shut down.
Dude, you get 3. If you say it more than 3 times, they boot your internet.
Is that kind of like getting a mogwai wet after midnight or feeding him? Is that what's going to happen? She's going to turn in like, she'll look like Hillary Clinton on meth coming through my back door. Like silver bullets won't work. I'll have to give her an Epstein
sure what
news.
happened to Jeff.
Not sure. Yeah, it'll be like the movie. What was that movie with? Was it man with the I don't know. I'm going off tangent. So, long story short,
Hold
so I'm
on,
driving
Jeff,
down this road.
We were right here. Whatever that meant. We were right here.
Okay, so we're right here, and
intersect.
So I'm driving. There's all these farm trucks, and like 35, 40, 50 mile an hour. Mind you, I hadn't been speeding, so I go to pass and just whoop real quick, get in front, get back down to like 60 and a 55, right? So I'm driving along, mind my own business, and I turn off on this side road, literally right off the road to take a piss. And here comes a cop. And this, you would have thought that, you would have thought that I robbed a bank. And I'm like, I didn't even know what I did. And I was like,
Get on the ground!
And this lady was like snapping on me, and I'm like, what did I do? Oh, and it was it was everything from
Sewer
reckless
truck?
driving, speeding, eluding the police, all this crap, and I'm like, what did I do? Right? And she said I passed these vehicles and I hit 80 miles an hour. Okay. I'm like, I passed farm vehicles. I said, yeah, but I slowed down to like 60 and just trucked on down here. I'm like, what? I said, I didn't even see you. I don't even know where you're at. And you know what she says? I'm like, what took you so long to catch me? If I was doing 60 after that. I got stuck behind the same vehicles you did. Oh.
So how did you get around them?
As I said, I had to pass them. I'm like, oh. I did get a speeding ticket, right? And I'm sitting there, and this lady is just barking at me, and I'm like, "Is that dash cam thing or your little chest thing cam on?" Yes, I said, okay. And I just said, "Can you repeat what I did wrong?" And she kept on saying about eluding, this, that, and the other, on and on and on. And I'm like, "Can you write me those tickets, please?" My friend's looking at me like, what are you doing? Because I did none of that, right? And I wanted her to write these tickets, and then literally, I steer clear of drama, I steer clear of all that crap. I just was going to make a huge point out of it because I didn't do any of that.
Brian has a lot of goodies he's showing you there, bud.
Ooh.
Not to cut you off, but
what is that?
Stuff.
That's the coil.
Yep.
Nice.
Coil. Brand new.
Yes.
It's unobtainable now.
Yes. Dean says obvious because of your dick to height ratio. You copped it. Yes.
Dick to height ratio.
Well, the best part was like, she's like, why'd you pull over here? And I'm like, to be honest with you, I had to take a piss. You think if I'm going to run from the cops, I'm going to pull over in broad daylight right off the road and pee?
I had you gapped, lady. I had you gapped. Okay?
Yeah. I was dying laughing. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't realize I did something that judicially wrong of passing farm implements to get around them. Brian's got all kinds of goodies. I see pictures sent to me, and it's like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Fox, I can tell you from experience that 58 to 25 rates 4 cop cars in rural Ohio. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I know what you mean on that. He's got all the fun stuff down there. It's like a Pontiac Historical Museum of parts. So yeah, needless to say, I got a ticket. I had to pay that ticket, but oh well. Yeah, other than that, it's just been a cold day in Illinois. I plan on having a whole lot of fun. Dakota says, Brian, show us that Trans Am. The Trans Am's not in his basement, I don't think.
I've seen people who do it.
Oh, look at that old Mickey Thompson book.
Signature?
Yeah. That's really cool.
It's hard to find.
I need to show you something, Brian, that you're gonna like. I have the record album of that race.
You do?
Yes.
Well,
In fact, I'll run downstairs and get it. Douster Wolverine. If Mopar were to disappear today, I would be a hardcore Pontiac. Yeah, Pontiac's a great engine. They make all kinds of torque. I'll be right back, Brian.
Uh-oh. Did he walk away in his internet freeze, or is he still going?
I'll be right back.
There he is. I can hear him breathing, so I know it's working.
Hello. I'm actually in my basement. You can't see me. I'm actually building a studio in my basement. All right, I'm coming back.
What you got?
Brian, you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Okay, check this out. Griff Borgeson presents Bonneville, 1960.
Oh, you got the soundtrack. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds of the Salt Flats promotional copy. Riverside. So Riverside Records and Fleetwood did a lot of automotive racing stuff. Then on the Fleetwood, it's that I got of it is Craig Breedlove's 407.45 World Land Speed record. Pretty wild, though, isn't it?
It's shaking.
Yeah, I've got a lot of these. That's why I'm doing. Once I figure out my technical aspects of it, that's why Thursday nights I'm going to be, because I got more time on my hands because wintertime. I'm going to be playing those every Thursday night, just picking a random vintage LP. I'll have to figure a radio voice out.
Damn, Robotti.
Yes.
I'm in Vertex Mags.
Ooh.
Got it.
What is that?
It's your magneto timer.
Oh, nice.
There's a set.
Where in the hell did you?
Yeah.
Where did you find all this stuff?
I can do it too.
Where did you find all that stuff? Just over the years? Yeah.
Huh?
That's fucking wild. Dougster says Greta. Dougster says Greta is tied up in Mr. Jeff's basement. No, actually in the shed. It's too warm and cozy in the basement for Officer Greta. Mean old wench.
He keeps her warm with a diesel heater.
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes. Oh, you can feel your toes now. Time to get out the wood chipper. Brian, Rick wants to know what's that mag going in.
Which one? I've got a bunch of them.
He's got a bunch of mags. I'm going to guess one of them's going in a 1970 Trans Am Ram Air 4 car.
You bet. Yeah, I've got
John Elliott.
3 of them for a Pontiac V8 ready to go. I could build a 4th one.
Does that have the rare earth magnets in it?
No. That model was a prototype, actually, by Vertex, never got released to the public.
Ah, I got you. Fox says, is a magneto timer like a magnetic timing light they used for diesels?
No, not at all. That's a Lumia inductive timer. It's totally different.
Nice. So yeah, I'm gonna figure out a radio voice DJ thing for the vintage drag racing and automotive LPs. I might even come up with like a fake AM radio type thing.
I was gonna say there's filters I know you can get for your microphone.
Yes.
It sound like it's really back in the 60s.
Yes, there's all kinds of it. Like, I'm trying to think what I had for. Oh, let me look here for a second. I did something. See, like, I might be losing my mind a little bit. Can't ever say I had it. But I had here, I think I said something about like WLS in the 60s, WLS 890. I was going to do WAV 521 AM. Like AV automotive vinyl, 521 cubic inches of the car.
Hell yeah.
This is Jeff Rowe. You could do it like so. I have a bunch of recordings somewhere of when WLS went FM in the early 70s, and all the guys were like super ripped out of their minds, right? They are coming down from like a 3-day bender on the best LSD, and now they got to go into work. They're just gone, and they're just like, "Hi, I'm Eric the Destroyer from WLS 89," and there's blah blah blah, and they're just ripping these tracks. And most of what they did on the FM side of it was a lot of the rock you didn't hear on the AM side. It was a little more risque at the time. So I'll have to come up with a good voice for that. Oh, I definitely will. Rick wants to know, what is your opinion of the Joe Hunt mags? Are they real or just a look-alike? Isn't that a rebuilt
Uh,
Vertex or
Joe Hunt did
Ronco?
his own work on Vertex mags. I don't want to talk bad about the guy, but he built things the way he wanted to. That's what I'll say.
Nice.
They were. I'd rather have a true Vertex myself
Yeah.
than the factory.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a
25 volts there.
Douster, and Jive Hype Jeff is a perfect DJ name, yes. Jive Hype Jeff from WAV 521. It's currently 1:22 in the morning. How are you guys all doing? Let's spin another track for those of you that are not on crack.
Chloe, this one's for you.
Yes. Danny, the guy stealing the Cadillac converters, don't crush yourself tonight. You want to hear some heavy metal, but not on this channel?
Hell yes.
All Pontiac blocks, Jeff. There's 6 of them
I see
there,
that.
actually.
You got a
Jeez.
stockpile.
Size and 350.
You better get building, man. Better get building.
Eh,
I still want to do a podcast with you, Jeff. Just say when.
I know. So I need to talk to you because I am building a studio in my basement, and like I said, on my YouTube stuff, I don't get real political, but
Right.
this.
Look at that. Look at everyone in the chat, everyone watching right now. Do you see this? Do you see that? I don't get real potato because I won't say it because it'll freeze up. Wow. Wow. Need I say more? Things that make you go, Yeah, he didn't even get to the G word. Junkyard D's right. Jeff's like, hey, keep talking. They got me again. Wow. That is
This
crazy.
one's ultra rare, Jeff. 6189 4-bolt. It's a 425A trophy mansion.
Wow, nice. Jeff actually
I got
froze
this from
in
Dan
his-
Whitmore in Wisconsin.
Jeff's actually bowed out for a minute. His internet
Import
crashed.
code. Some of my stash.
That's awesome, Brian.
Spare shaker. Functional trapdoor. 7.5. It's got the fin rim.
You had me
It's
at
worth
Hoodspeed.
about 3,000, believe it or not.
Wow.
It's a real McCoy.
I start saying something about politics or whatever. Boom. Gone.
And we're back, everybody. And I immediately was like, was that me? Did everyone else just witness that?
Yeah. Again. So I guess I'll have
So
to
the-
like learn. Yeah.
The P Word podcast. Yes, let me know. I'm in. You know, I'm game.
Yes. So
Just say the
I
word.
was talking to my friend who's going to do it with me, but we needed a reporter on the street. You. But the show is going to be called Troglodyte Nation.
What?
Troglodyte. It was like the trolls, the people under the bridge, just like the scum of everything. Nobody knows what that means. So like Troglodyte Nation, and we're gonna we'll discuss this offline. But I said, man, I know somebody perfect for that. And I'm building a studio, and it's kind of like it's gonna be pretty neat.
So ultra rare.
And I'm actually setting it up like in my basement in this room, so I can actually smoke a cigar in there. Because it's going to be toxic.
Right.
It's going to be like the Toxic Masculinity Hour, brought to you by Deadwood Tobacco. You know,
Yes.
if you're going to get cancer, you might as well just do it right. You know, not eating that
Enjoy it.
McDonald's or the soy boy lattes where your nuts shrink and you die of cancer. Go out smoking and having a beard. You know.
Dude, I'm so down.
Yep.
I've been itching to do.
Well, I got
be
one more
part
I
of
gotta
some
show you, Jeff.
podcast.
Yes. Troglodyte Nation. I mean, we got some plans. Brian's like, I think he's in his third basement of full of parts.
It's a dark
think
little
he's-
M block I was telling you about.
Holy
Yeah.
cow!
Raised heck. Yeah, it's a real deal.
Hey,
That's about $5,000 right there, maybe
Eric,
5,500 today.
that's pretty. That's a nice block. Eric, read Fox's.
Yeah, Agrees cam comment. About 300 total.
Fox is quick, dude. He is
Yes, he
so
is.
quick. Oh my god.
Fox might be another man on the street guy. Live from the very colorful place. But he'll have to play it like he's colorblind. Like, why do you just have all these striped flags around? Like, it doesn't make
Joe,
sense.
look,
Ooh,
you see that?
yes.
Yeah, it's a vintage top fuel sir. Yeah, it's a real deal. It's from the 70s.
My
About
God.
1971.
That's pretty badass. Sponsored, Douster says, sponsored by Black Death Cigarettes. Put another nail in your coffin. Max Wedge. I had a troll say Max Wedges weren't muscle cars, and I just don't know any better. Oh, you know what? That person that said it, Max Wedge, is right next to Officer Greta in the shed. Just tell me when. I got extra fuel for that log splitter and wood chipper. We're going to play a game. John Elliott says, nice stash. Brian does have an unbelievably rare stash of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Irish Jay is in the chat. Irish Outlaw Grunts. Look at the dicks
what's
in this
up,
bunch.
brother?
I feel huge. That's what happens. Says, I feel huge. Quit looking through one of them curved lenses. God damn it.
He's got the kids' kaleidoscope or whatever thing. Remember you used to turn it and it'd make the shit spin?
How your vision looked in art class in high school?
Yes.
Oh, man. But yeah, I will let you know on that. I've been piecing together my decor for it, straight out of the 60s, too. That's the best part.
Dude, seeing some of the stuff you've done in the past, I cannot wait.
It's going to be cool. And, I have a feeling YouTube's not going to like it. You saw my other channel I made just for New Orleans, didn't I?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That was so bad.
Awesome.
That one quickly got shadow banned. And all I was doing was showing the reality of what's going on in New Orleans.
Yep.
But I know, so I did, for the rest of you guys out there, I spent some time down south this summer, and I used to be in New Orleans a lot, and it's scum. It is scum now. I used to love it, but it has just gone downhill since the Rona ran through and everything got locked down. And it is straight out of a movie. And I literally, here. I have these bad boys, right? Ray-Ban stories, and they record, right?
Oh, nice.
Yes. So I was dressed up as Hunter S. Thompson from the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Cigarette extension, hat, and all. White chucks, you name it. And I'm wandering the streets of New Orleans.
Like it. Exactly.
Yes, and I'm wandering the streets of New Orleans with my daughter and her boyfriend. And the stuff I saw, it's comical in a way because it's ugh, but at the same time, it's sad. It is freaking sad. Rick says, looking forward to the artwork on the tin for the dragster. So am I. I've been drawing up some of it. Don't you hate it when you sit in the toilet and touches the water? Yes. Saggy. Gravity has taken over.
Hey, I did step into the Ford world. This is from an F-150.
Nice.
And they did the same dumb thing Dodge did. So I did the same thing I do for Dodge and stop them from accessing it.
Nice.
So
nice.
Ford people are going to have some fun too.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait to do Troglodyte Nation. I think that's going to be fun.
Dude.
Oh, and it's perfect. It's perfect timing. 2024.
Oh my gosh, yes, and you have to simulcast it on Rumble.
Yes, absolutely.
The heathens are on Rumble.
I know.
Like my other show simulcast because that's the place I can go. Oh, it didn't get booted from here.
Yeah, yeah. I actually because in Jimmy's daytime job, he's a machinist for the pew pew things, federally
Yeah.
licensed. I mean, the guy's legit,
Yeah.
and we had said something in a video about it, and nothing bad, and like I had this video get demonetized. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I reached out to YouTube, and they're like, well, with the laws that have changed in the state of Illinois, you can't. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
Excuse me.
So we've literally taken the time of like in the machinist side of like all the boxes of stuff that are labeled with certain words to move those. So yeah.
Sad.
Douster, how was your cigarette holder experience? Did you feel like FDR? No, I actually felt like Hunter S. Thompson for a lot of reasons. Seriously, was the experience better? Doesn't it cool to smoke? It was more of a prop thing. There was people that did recognize me as that character, and that was the comical part. But then you realize, wait a minute, I blend in way too well.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah. I'll put it back in here. So yeah, it's just crazy. I was never, like I said, I've been down there a lot. I really enjoyed it. Like the food down there and the culture that was there before was great. Loved it. What actually works to stop slicks from dry rotting? Have to get new ones before we're on. I don't know, because like I run drag radials and I destroy them. Like whenever I take my car out, it sees a lot of hard miles, and I, unfortunately, I do not do nice things to tires. Like I said, this car's only got 500 miles on it, and all 1,000 of them are very hard.
The only thing I've noticed from dry rotting being in Arizona is if you take some sort of a lubricant, any type of oil, anything like that that stays, that doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
Like even some of the tire wall shine stuff and put it on there, it just keeps it from drying up so bad.
Yeah.
This lane is supposed to work, Jeff, on sidewalls, keep them from cracking. That's what I've been
Yeah.
told. Smear
I've got-
gasoline on there.
I've got a set of, like, these are pretty good Hoosiers, front and rear. My other wheels are American Racing. They got Mickey Thompsons with Pro Tracks on the front. But I know, because John Cope and I are going through this transmission, doing a ton of upgrades, including a trans brake, lower planetary gear set, blah, 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 all that technical jargon to do burnouts. So, I mean, I put a two-step in it, so I'm going to be practicing just, getting all that stuff together, right? Hitting buttons, switches, there goes this, do this dance shit. I'm going to figure out, I'm going to just go out and practice. I'll be destroying those tires. I go a couple times a year. I heard Armor All and stuff cause it. So guess fluorescent light can cause damage to slicks and drag radials. Like you want to keep them covered up. I don't know why that is, but yeah, fluorescent light can harm them.
What about LEDs?
I don't know. I don't know what LEDs do to light. We should ask Greta. She knows everything about the environment. Hey, Greta.
Uh-oh.
And
you
you're
get one more.
If I get one more, then yes, yeah. And then you'll see a hand come in this way, and I know I didn't Epstein myself. Just if anything happens, just remember this live. I'm in very good spirits. Yes, Douster, the sun's UV light kills the rubber too.
Yeah.
Anthony, dancing alone with rentals. That guy pops up every once in a while on videos. He's a super awesome guy. Anthony Hopkins used black shoe polish. What kind of slicks are you talking about, though? Anthony Hopkins. My car sits in the trailer out of the UV. Yes, that's the best place for it, just because can't see dryer out in the dark.
Yeah. Right.
Really, too, is like you're not really supposed to let them sit on them in one spot at a lot of times, but oh well,
Yeah.
So that'll be my plan: is taking the Mickey Thompsons out and destroying those, practicing trans braking two-step. That'll make for some really good burnout videos.
Oh, I did, dude. World Fastest Indian was a great movie.
Yes. Definitely a good movie. So speaking of that, my neighbor is a quiet guy, and I haven't picked it up yet, but I bought an old rod and pin hone, Van Norman rod and pin hone, and a B body Dana 60 rear end, and a oddball rare 4.9 inch. Really good price. But in his garage, it's rows of Indian motorcycles, and most of them are the inline four with like that factory suicide shifter on the side. And he had all these boxes and stuff, and I got talking to him. His dad was a machinist and engineer and all this, and worked on Indians, and he actually patented through Indian like replacement parts when they stopped making them to cast. This guy's got motorcycles, Indians, you name it, rare, and so cool. Like, so cool.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. So let's see here. He's talking about world's fastest Indian. Oh, okay. Now I know the comment on that. Burt Monroe is the second most badass Kiwi I know. Dino is the first. Well, there's also Aaron from Peckerwood Customs. He's a pretty badass guy. Don't know a whole lot of Kiwis, but Dean, I would have to say, is the number one Kiwi on my list. Kiwi's custom classic cars also. He's a very nice guy. But the old New Zealand Prime Minister, the lady who had chiclets and 2x4s for teeth, who absolutely hates freedoms, she is not a nice lady. That's Greta's aunt.
Yes.
I can't remember her name, but she can go fuck herself too. What was her name? Dean, what was your old Prime Minister's name? I think it was Prime Minister or Fuhrer, whatever she called herself.
Jesus.
I've been reading too much news today, and it's just like, like all of us just normal, hardworking Americans or anybody in the world who just want to be left alone.
It's all coming to a head, like I told you.
Yeah, just want to drive our cars. Yes,
Yeah, all I want to do is race too.
Just want to race. Just want to like hang out. Just do my thing. Grill. Have a gas stove. Man.
That's what I use.
Yes. Here's another idea. Create a YouTube channel called Joe Biden's Gas Stove and just have it 24/7 live of a gas stove. Just lit. And pop in every once in a while, be like, bacon and eggs. And cook my farting cow meat. So here's the thing about that. So all these people are like, oh, the cows fart. Everyone farts. And, 3 years ago, people were joking like, they're going to start saying, breathing is the cause of it. Scientists now, you read in the news, oh, breathing is leading global warming. What the fuck do you want us to do about it? We have to live. Fox can fix it. I try to just read the news headlines on any aggregate website. For profit, news is nothing but bias and BS. It is. And I read a lot of alternative news. I can't stand mainstream news at all. It's pretty obvious on so much of it. I was watching something today, a clip of something, and it was MSLSD or whatever, MSNBC, sorry. And they were crying. Today's the third anniversary of January 6th. What are your feelings on it? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're fucking crying? You're that big of a pussy.
Huh?
Get out of here.
I didn't even realize it was January 6th.
Because the average American knows it's a sham.
Oh, yeah.
The average American's like, yeah, this is a scam.
Right this way. Do you want this door open? Let me open it for you. Come on in.
You know what?
We should run. We're in trouble. Oh, my God.
The people they put in handcuffs and walked them out and unhandcuffed them and patted them on the back and had pictures with them. And
I'd like to punch him in the face if he comes here.
Why do you have a film crew on this day?
I like film crews.
Oh.
yeah, that's the funny part. It's like the film crews are there. The people are like, I thought my life was in danger. You weren't even in the same fucking building. It's a huge scam. Well, if farts are bad, then we should ban the number one source, Taco Bell. I was thinking politicians because they talk the most shit. Taco Bell ain't got nothing on them. Irish Outlaw is right. Ashley Babbitt Day. So that is a very good point. Ashley Babbitt was shot dead, not armed, nothing. And on top of it, there's finally a lawsuit being filed on her behalf.
Good.
So yes. No, not Dean. It wasn't Militia Adern. It was just brown haired. Let me look this up. New Zealand. Oh man, it's requiring me to type.
Well, isn't that special?
Yeah, wasn't that special?
No,
that was a church lady.
Douster, yeah, Douster said, "Destroyer sounds like the SNL church lady." Well, isn't that special?
Yacinda Ardeen. Yes, yes, that evil person. Every time she spoke, you're like, you sound legitimately like you're just trying to take the world over and imprison everybody. Awesome. The church lady. Good old Dana Carvey. Ain't that special?
Well, so I think
Look at that.
everyone. Oh, that's amazing.
That is pretty badass.
I think everybody in the world needs to just get together and say, you know what, all y'all? Ha ha ha.
You know, I said, so you ever notice how all these big banks, I am a diehard capitalist, but I hate crony capitalism. And you see all these big banks and all this, they do all this bad shit, and then they get bailed out, right? And then you and I pay for it. And then the good people get hurt, get hurt badly. Small business owners, homeowners, you name it, get hurt really badly. And you can have this, they're too big to fail bank, get bailed out because of decisions that screw everybody else over. And so I've always said, you know what, to get these sons of bitches back, everybody in America, I know it's a pipe dream, but if everybody in America took out as much debt as they could, credit cards, loans, you name it, everybody, for a solid year, and then 3 weeks before taxes are due, everybody files bankruptcy and says, sorry, it's on you.
That's a good idea.
I mean, you look at like if you were to lose your job, like your business right now because of something.
I've already lost it because of COVID, but yeah.
I know, but like you could lose everything you have, right? But these banks and all this other crap, they don't lose jack.
Here you go.
Here,
try again.
Try again. Oh, and again. In fact, we're going to do monetary policies that are just going to give you even more money, and just keep doing it. Yeah.
Well, you have to sign the bill to know what's in it.
Yeah, that's even scarier.
I don't mean to poke the bear, but it's.
Fox Can Fix It is another. Michael Myers, Fox Can Fix It, a good Michael Myers reference. I'm all verklempt, just talk amongst yourselves.
I'm verklempt. I've got schmilbliss.
Politicians that decide on business regulations are allowed to invest in the same business. That's a very good point. Those guys can pull insider trading left and right. That's why you see politicians that go in. Grumpy Dutch guy. Who is Grumpy Dutch guy? Oh, Dutch guy.
Dutch. Yeah.
There we go. How's it going, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Just hanging out on a Saturday night.
About time somebody does.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that your new shop?
Yeah. Yep.
That looks pretty big. What size is that?
It's a 32 by 64.
Nice. That's really nice.
It's getting there. Still gotta installate it.
Yeah. See, you're kind of like me, 'cause you're in Iowa or Wisconsin.
Michigan.
Michigan. Oh, Michigan. So you're colder. Yeah, this time of year it gets cold, like really, really cold. I keep my garage heated year round. Not year round, but this time of year. But like my buddy's shop, he's got a pretty good sized shop, and I'm telling you what, like it's not cheap to heat at all.
No. It's right now I make my own diesel, so I use a diesel heater, and
Nice.
I do that. This coming year, once everything's insulated, I'm going over to a 4-zone mini split system.
Sweet. Dancing Alone with Reynolds says 32 by 64. That's an airplane hangar, but we can see his breath. Yeah, 'cause it's cold. Definitely cold.
Yep.
Max Wedge,
It's
Dick Dashley makes a good comment. Politicians that send people into combat should have to go themselves or send a family member. Yeah, making money off all this crap. So, what's your new projects you got going on in the Mopar world?
I actually I cut up one of our Richard Petty edition Velaris, which they only made like 247 of. I'm working on rebodying one of those right now.
Nice.
I had a car shipped in from Alabama for $1,000. Doesn't need any rust repair, and we're gonna rebody it. Everyone hates it in the Mopar world, but we're gonna do it.
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah. So we bought 3 more Aspens this month. We're actually looking at selling one of the Aspens tomorrow, so we can get rid of one and add 3 because that makes sense.
So the big block wagon you did, was it last year you did that? That thing was pretty cool. That thing was really cool. So I watched the light on that. What would you do differently shoving a big block in one of those?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Go pretty seamless? You wouldn't
No.
do it, or you wouldn't?
I would never do it again. I would honestly all stick to a small block. Big block is
Yeah.
not meant to be in that car. Change the spark plugs. You got to pull especially on the passenger side, you got to pull the passenger tire off. I had to cut the inner apron. If you were making a drag car, sure, but
Yeah.
the wife's wagon, that is a tried and true show car, and she wanted it factory appearing, so it looked like it came with a factory big block, and that was a pain in the rear.
Oh, I can only imagine. I can only
She wanted,
imagine.
she wanted no hood scoop, so trying to make even the low deck fit in that engine bay was a challenge. We have a 1/2 inch of clearance between the custom made air cleaner. I had to make a custom drop base and cut it 7 ways from Sunday to make it work. So
And I know you were getting into kind of the Trans Am SECA style, like road racing with some of that. How's that going?
very well, very well. We've been doing that for 2 years now. We actually have a SCCA track about 15 minutes from the house. That was the main reason behind getting into it, because it's actually closer than the drag strip. And,
Nice.
I find it more fulfilling than drag racing. To do one lap on that course takes about 1.5 minutes, and when you compare that to drag racing, I don't know. I come from a family of drag racers, and I find it more fulfilling to do that SCCA racing
Yeah.
as compared to drag racing. Get more feel for the car, you get more track time, and not to say that drag racing isn't fun, but it's entirely different. You get that adrenaline rush, corner after corner after corner after corner. I mean, we're doing
Yep.
our average speed is 65 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and you're throwing a.
So I was at Holly Mo Party this year, and I spent quite a bit of time watching because they had a makeshift track set up on their round area, and
Yep.
man, there was a Jeep there, like a Wagoneer, like an old Wagoneer, and
Oh yeah,
turbo Gen 3 Hemi. Holy shit, that thing was. It was crazy. You saw the new Challengers come out, and they're around. All of a sudden, you hear this ripper of a Jeep, and I
Yep.
mean, this guy knew how to drive, and he was turning times in this thing that were just unbelievable.
that's actually Greg. He's actually from my area.
Really,
Yep,
that thing was so cool.
that's actually his second build. His first one was that same style Cherokee, that 70s style 2-door Cherokee,
Mhm.
and he's around the same age as us. I'm gonna apologize if I move. This one light is stupid bright.
If I had that, you all be blind.
But Greg, he's actually an engineer by trade. He is a fantastic human being. We met him at Cars and Coffee when we used to live in the city, and he built his first Cherokee in his 20s. And he put, I think it was a 6.1 Hemi with a turbo, and he put the T56 behind it. And he had no idea how to drive a stick, and he brought it down to Cars and Coffee, and we're like, what's going on with that Jeep? Like, he actually had never driven a stick before. He put the stick in it. He learned how to drive a stick, and he brings it to Cars and Coffee. And I'm like, I can respect that kind of guy because
Yeah.
he put all this money into this just so he could learn how to drive a stick, and now he's out there killing it. killing it in the SCCA world.
Oh, that thing was. John Cope and I were sitting there watching this thing like, holy crap. But Dakota asked a good question. Can you run any old car on that track?
There's only like 5 cars that are banned by the SCCA, in which it's actually like a funny bunch, but they're known for rolling over. And that's the only reason they're banned.
Ah,
So the newer Dodge Dart is banned for some reason, which I haven't figured that out. Apparently, they're known for rolling over, and then there is, I think it's the PT Cruiser, and then there is a form of Mini Cooper. I don't know if it's a Countryman or not, that is also banned. But
yeah.
SCA or SCCA has so many classes, and trying to get into it is really confusing. And the class that we're in, that we race our car in, it really hurts us, unfortunately, because there's like a stock muscle car class. And if you're stock, you're fine. You can race with, 90s, early 90s Trans Ams and, IROC Camaros and stuff like that. But if you do any upgrades, you're bumped into this KMT class. And the rules for KMT are like rear wheel drive and V8. And you have to have door panels. And that's like the only rules.
Huh.
So you can have a 69 Chevelle with a brand new C5 Corvette underneath of it, and you're in the same class as me, and I'm running all 1978 technology.
Yeesh.
So it's hard to beat.
So Brian has got a 70 Trans Am. What would something like that be classified as? It's not going to be a stock engine, but I mean, it's got the factory 4-speed suspension and stuff like that. I mean, what would something like that? Would that be? Yeah.
It depends on what track you also run on. Some guys are not as picky as others. I got thrown out of the stock class because I swapped my 8 1/4 for an 8 3/4, and I got told I couldn't run the stock class.
Wow.
And then some tracks, they're not going to care if you run a different rear end.
See, that's crazy.
All depends on where you're at, and it's a lot like drag racing with the fast guys. You got to run a stock rear end with stock heads and all that stuff. It's kind of similar to that.
Fox says, "Well, it sounds like that class is run by the government."
It's close. It's just close, but the cam classes are kind of fun because they have actually cam nationals, and they actually hold those in Michigan because we have
cool.
We have Gingerman Raceway. I haven't had the gumption to go out there and actually participate in it yet because my car's very far from the cam class is such a far spread. It stops in 2002, so the late 90s Mustangs where they had there's a guy that races our track. He's got a late 90s Mustang and it's full on Celine, and I have to race against him.
Oh wow! So that's not even fair.
No, that's we've been trying to push them so they can have different cam classes because if you go into the street classes, they break it down to if you have an upgraded sway bar, or upgraded struts, or stuff like that. I think there's street A through I think it's F. Just a stupid amount of classes. There's like over 100 classes of SCCA racing, and it's just ridiculous when you compare it to drag racing.
So, if you had if you ended up having, let's say, I'm trying to think what car that'd have been, something like a Cyclone, that's all-wheel drive, or the Typhoon all-wheel drive, any of those all-wheel, like a VR4 or the Mitsubishi 3000 GT, what would those be classified as?
Again, it would be depending if they're stock or not. I mean, if they're stock, then it would be. It wouldn't be KMS. I'd honestly have to look into the SCCA book, but is the Typhoon the Blazer?
Yes.
Okay, that one might be outlawed. I have to look in the book, but I know you can't go race a Chevy Tahoe.
Okay. But John Wilburn says in the chat, Ford Fiesta, Dodge Caliber, Fiat 500, Geo Tracker, Suzuki Sidekick, Jeep CJ, Mini Countryman, Nissan, Juke, Suzuki Samurai, 2004 to 2006 Scion XB, and Scion IQ are the banned cars on the list that he found. I can see why those cars are banned. Definitely, kind of a box waiting to roll over. Junkyard D. So if you were wanting to get into SCCA, what would be a good cheap beginner car to look for?
Mid 2000s Hondas. Honestly, I tried the sport out. That's what we see a lot of.
Yeah. Oh.
Miatas.
Miata.
Oh. Miatas aren't cheap now.
No.
Miatas, people want money because they know.
Yes. I don't know. I think me and Eric need to take the T-Bird and his thing right there, his dart.
Yes.
Boy, my T-Bird would be like trying to sail a oil tanker through a creek. Thing would definitely not. Dancing Alone with Reynolds, finally a negative list that the Ridgeline wasn't in. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think my
That was
school
such a-
rear end would like that.
No. I'm putting a spool in mine here pretty soon. I'm ditching the 430s and going with 488s and a spool. So, goodbye
Nice.
traction lock and 430s.
I got 430s in the spool, so.
Douster, the Miata is the English two-seater sports car perfected. It really is.
Oh, dude.
That's such a
Those-
weird car. It's a neat. I'm not a big fan of anything convertible. I never have been, but the Miata to me is such a weird car. I tell you what was a neat car. Remember the Honda S2000?
Oh, yeah.
That was a neat little car. Definitely a quick, neat little car.
Those Miatas on the race circuit, though, dude, it's hard to touch those things.
Yeah.
They handle like they're on train tracks.
Yeah. SCCA racing to me is fun because I like road racing. Like back in the day, like Watkins Glen and all that when they were racing the 303 Mopar Challengers. I think it was 305, but the 303 Pontiac stuff, 302 Chevy stuff, the 302 Ford stuff. That was really cool shit. And you watch those guys in those tiny displacement engines just flying around those tracks. And here's a cool engine. I know I've talked about it before a long time ago. It was neat to see Chrysler get into the world of trying to do IndyCar engine development. They had what was called a Westlake 318, where it was like a tunnel port head that had direct injection to it, and it's actually really, really, really cool. Let's see. Look at the comments. So what I'm hearing is that surplus military Humvees not banned from SCCA racing. Interesting. That's a good one. John Wilburn says I found out halfway through putting a clutch in one of the Civic and Del Sol use a different one. I honestly think Fox is onto something, Dutch. I would love to see him take one of those Humvees and go whipping around one of those tracks.
That would be the shit.
We've seen a lot of pickups get introduced this year. There was actually a guy, he had a 2001 Chevy Silverado single cab long box this year, and it was dropped, and he was putting competitive times down with a lot of the C4 Corvette guys.
Nice. What about like the late '90s? I think it was late '90s Dakota RTs, the short bed, regular cab. Would that be a good?
We seen one of those this year. He had a 6.4 Hemi swap, and he was beating me by a considerable amount this year.
Yes.
I didn't do well this year. I battled. Halfway through the season, my car wouldn't rev past 4,000 RPMs, and so I went through. My power band is right from 4,500 to 6,200 RPMs, where everything's degreed at, and I couldn't touch my power band without it breaking up, and went through the whole car front to back trying to figure out issues, and actually broke 3 valve springs.
Oh wow.
Oh, no shit.
My first
Bri-
race of the season, I found my red line. Did very well racing. Touched 7,500 RPMs. That's what the motor is built for, and I broke valve springs.
Oh wow. Real
So
quick, speaking of road racing stuff, Brian is showing off his 70 Ram Air 4 Trans Am 4-speed car,
Beautiful.
which is a gem to find, and he's got one. So when you broke all that, was it pretty apparent that, oh shit, I broke all of that and it needed a
no, I had some because I got a high volume fuel pump, and I was the one day I was racing, it was 95 degrees on the track, and I had my fuel was percolating before the fuel filter, before the fuel pump, and so I thought I had air bleed issues and stuff like that. So I tried addressing it on the track, which when we race S68, it's pretty fast paced when we're not doing track days, and so I tried addressing it as much as I could on the track, and then I thought I fixed it, and it's one of those you don't know you fixed it until you actually get on the track.
yeah.
And so I kept battling it, over and over and over again, and then I found out I took the motor apart when I parked it on our last race on November 1st, and I found the broken valve springs, which is unfortunate because they're only a year old.
Yeah, that sucks. Did they coil bind or they just break?
No, they're entirely just cracked.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's
I
crazy.
don't have any piston damage. Luckily, I mean the motor's all under warranty at this point, anyways. But
Yeah.
luckily, we use Valley Performance, which a lot of people in the Mopar world have heard of, from the Hot Rod Engine Masters build. They did the small block build, the Hot Rod called the LS Killer.
Yeah.
That's actually our engine shop. They're about 2 miles down the road.
Very cool. So you got pretty much a close plethora of parts, performance, knowledge, pretty much around you. That's pretty killer.
Yeah,
Eric's asking me Greta, just checking. I'm still here. I haven't said anything about Greta or any of that. This whole live, Dutch, like I start mentioning that, I get froze and kicked off. So yeah, these people.
I had to do a test in the comments to see if they're watching the comments and not you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. The town we live in is actually very hot rod enthused. We live in Ionia, Michigan, and you've all heard of DTS, I assume.
Yeah.
Drivetrain Solutions.
Yep.
They have a location in San Francisco, California, and Ionia, Michigan.
Very cool.
They're
Very
1 mile
cool.
down the road.
So where I live is right dab in the middle of this hell of a state, and there used to be a lot of speed and performance stuff, and it's really gone away. There's still one really old school speed performance shop about 45 minutes from me, and I do go there, help support that small business because they have been in this location forever. The location around them has gotten really crappy, but really nice guys. I go and buy my fuel there, and they're still kicking. There's a drag strip. There used to be a lot more drag strips around here, but really just one. We had a really large NHRA track around here, and that went away. So basically, where I live, no quick way to get to a drag strip, but the closest one, mile-wise, is literally 67 miles from my house, but it's an hour and 20-minute drive. Or I can go the other way, 90 miles the same time and be in Morocco, Indiana, and race there, go there and watch and have all that kind of fun. Or I can go down to St. Louis, 2 hours, Chicago, 2 hours, Indy's about 2.5 hours. I go to Cordova a lot though, so
we're kind of blessed in our area. We have 35 minutes north. We have a drag strip, and then 35 minutes west, we have a drag strip.
Is that US 41, 141, Martin, Michigan?
Uh, 131. Yep, Martin.
131. Yep.
Yep, and then we have Stanton's. Um, that's a track I grew up on.
Years ago, I used to go to a lot of the fast stuff at the Martin, Michigan.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they got a ton of that there.
Oh yeah, that's one of my good friends actually works for Mopar Collector's Guide, and
Oh,
he's
I did an interview with them. I'm waiting for
Rob?
the issue to come out.
nope.
Is it
Tim.
Rob? Tim? So I know Rob pretty well. Back in my Mopar days years ago, Rob's a good guy. Rob's a really good guy.
Yeah, that's I. Tim lives over just past Flint, Michigan, so he's a little bit west.
Yeah.
He is a very, very interesting man, though. He does not like traditional Mopars, which is hilarious because he works for a Mopar Collector's Guide. He is a
Yeah.
front wheel drive guy.
See, that's so years ago when I did a lot of stuff. What I used to do, the guys that we hauled Mopar Collectors guys stuff in our toter home and all that, and of course we would have fun at night with all these guys and all that. And that crowd was always just jam packed fun. I mean, and I hadn't seen a lot of them in a long time, and it was nice catching up with them at a Holly Mo party. Rob's an absolute stand up guy. I can't remember the guy's name that worked for him that passed away years back. Big, tall, skinny guy. He was like old school muscle car. I want to say, in my opinion, he was like an old rocker, but he died. He passed away of cancer. But I think in the Mopar world, in my opinion, this guy brought like patina on the map. He had so much cool stuff. So Fox says, so he's an old cool Omni GLHS and Shelby Z guy. There was a guy on YouTube that had a bunch of that, and I hadn't seen him in a while. Some of those cars were pretty neat.
Oh yeah, yep. I had a couple Shelby CSXs back in the day.
I had a Daytona.
I had a GLH Omni, black one.
There you go.
Didn't that
Dude.
stand for Goes Like Hell?
Oh my god. I beat a dude in a Trans Am. I pulled over in the gas station, and this guy comes up and was beyond pissed off. Like mad. Like almost wanted to fight me. Because I had me and two other buddies in the car, and we wailed on him and his girlfriend in his Trans Am.
Oh, wow.
He didn't know I had a computer on there, so I was pushing like 15 PSI of boost out of that mother.
But those were cool little cars. I mean, you got to remember that time Chrysler was kind of junk, and like everyone was kind of slow, and it was all about looks and like cocaine and Miami Vice. So well, but like that era of cars was just kind of. I was a kid. I remember I had a friend that had an Omni GLHS, and I think it was black too, and didn't have like little orange pinstriping and stuff on it. And that thing flew. It was like this little bread box, and it was just like, whew, there it goes. Yeah, 3.0 Dodge Shadow. That was another one. Good night, Mr. Cope. Have a good evening.
Yeah, I had a 2.2 turbo.
Such neat little cars. My Daytona was a V6. I remember that. It wasn't fast, but it was a cool car. It was like blue, silver, and black. It was a neat car.
I still have a 3.0 Shadow.
Really?
I do.
The 3.0 is a fun car, man. Dude, I had my mom had a what was it? The Dodge Dynasty.
Yep.
And I would take it out, and there was a guy who randomly pulled up to us with a Thunderbird, and we wailed on his ass. And he was, once again, mad because I told him I pulled up next to him after we beat him. I rolled the window down. He looks over and he goes, "What is that?" And I go, "Not too bad for Mom's car." And we just, we're gone.
Yeah.
Douster, this is kind of funny. Gillette had a doohickey thing that snapped on your razor to give you the Don Johnson 2-day beard look. It was called the Miami Device.
Nice.
So,
Doug doesn't live far from me.
nice. So, are you guys been getting hammered with cold weather and snow, or?
We are going to be getting. We're seeing the edge of that storm front coming through. What do they call
Yeah.
it? The Evan or whatever it's called. We're supposed to get 8 inches on Tuesday, according
Yeah.
to weather. We'll see if that actually happens or not.
We're supposed to get hit. We got a couple inches today. Duxter says not a joke, is real product. Oh wow.
My wife's been waiting for that storm forever.
I had a friend growing up that was like I'm short, but he was a taller guy, probably like Eric's height. And growing up, he always had K cars, right? And his first one was like a little blue 4-door, and then he had like a little station wagon version, like same color. It was like the ugliest blue ever, you know. And then he had like I said, I don't like convertibles, but it was one of the convertibles, white interior, kind of maroon with the wood grain down the side. That car's top end was like 57 miles an hour. But, you know, you're young and you're kids and you're just driving around. I mean, it was like, you know, a really, really cool car. Really cool car. Dougster, Dutch and I are about an hour apart. Yeah, we're getting, like, it's been a very mild winter. Woke up this morning with snow on the ground, which I was really surprised. And we're supposed to get hit by that same thing. Brian is north of me. He'll probably get more than us, but not looking forward to that white powdery stuff all over the ground. I don't like it.
Lucky Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah. But I tell you what, guys, I am going to wrap this one up. I'm tired. I'm going to get up in the morning, do my thing. And Thursday night, I'm going to have another live. I'm going to start it off with my Thursday night live, doing the new thing with the vintage automotive vinyl. And I'm going to be doing a 1970 promotional record album from Dodge called Time to Get Turned On. It's the cheesiest music produced for automotive company ever, but it's cool. Then I'm having open mic. Like I said, it's wintertime. I have an absolute shit ton of vintage automotive vinyl. Some of it's cool. A lot of it's drag racing. And all that. Dutch, I don't know if Wilburn's got your number if you want to hit me up on Instagram, but if you can, we need to swap numbers, talk Mopar stuff sometime. But with that, guys, appreciate everybody coming in. It's almost midnight. Nothing good comes after midnight, and seeing I can't get wet after midnight or eat after midnight, or I'll turn into a gremlin. With that, guys, we will catch up with you later.
See you guys.
See ya.
Thanks.